Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. One and all. Welcome all to the office hours. This is a live stream. Let's get to the office, shall we? This is not a video. This is a live stream. Welcome. This is where we're going to kind of hang out, talk. You can ask questions. It's an AMA stream. We also kind of look at the latest news and updates and just kind of talk, shoot the shit. How you doing? How's everyone doing? This has got some green on it, so it's going to be harder to see, I think. But I do always like to start with a little bit of modeling stuff, because I actually started to get into learning how to edge highlight a lot more, and it's turned out pretty good. I think it's made some pretty good stuff. As I drop it and break everything. Luckily it's a tough little mini. That doesn't work, Paul. Been working through my Space Marines since the 10th edition for 40k is coming out soon, and I've got that big freaking box coming in, so I need to test out how to paint some of these models, and I think I figured it out. So you need a chroma screen color you never paint. Well, then I need to repaint my back wall. Hey, Nick. Hey, Dr. Silver, Jack, Aegis. Yeah, so a couple things is going to happen is just kind of a quick update. Starting not next week, but probably the week after next, I'm going to start doing streams on Mondays, probably only to YouTube, just because if I do it on Twitch, it might hurt the stream a little bit more, called Mini Mondays. I won't be archiving them at all, but I'll basically be painting and talking and answering questions when can. For the not Emperor. It's a Space Marine. Yeah, no, edge highlighting the freaking freelancer, no. 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 Hey, First Tasty. I also probably need to get a little bit more stuff for that. But I also decided that I'm going to pick up some new models from JRDF and start doing that for mini Mondays as well. But the plan is to do a lot more content. Take a lot of time, obviously, but the plan is to keep up the content that I currently have at the pace I currently have, but a lot more, so I can try to get done stuff faster, so I can have more content in the backlog. So the purple shirt is, I know I wear the purple shirt a lot because it's just the most comfortable, but I don't only wear it. So an AMA stream in the style of the Inforunners. Okay. Yeah, this is where I have to correct you there, Fishy. It's an AMA stream. If Inforunners does an AMA stream in the style of me. I've been doing the office hours for longer than the Inforunners have been doing their streams. Hey, the True Sand. Servers are melting again. Does anyone know what's going on with this login? The servers are melting, apparently. Everyone has jumped on at the same time, so I think the servers are just down. Okay. Good that the servers derped now, because it would be shitty for them to derp right before they went live for Invictus. Hey, Sparkplug. No sleep before Invictus. Ugh. So a lot of people know me for doing a couple other updates here. A lot of people know me for doing floor tours on in these events at Invictus and AIE, AEIOU, IO. So I am not going to be putting them up as individual videos. because they do terribly in terms of performance, and they aren't very. They just don't help the algorithm much, because there are people I know who like them though. So what I'll be doing is like this. I'll be streaming it on live on Twitch and YouTube, and then it'll be kind of put up there. John Madden. Why is it not showing up? Oh, was there one that went through that I didn't see? No, I'm not seeing it at all. There's not even an alert for it. What the heck? Hey, Shiny Hobo.
Drinks all around.
It's popping up. Oh, wait, yeah, there's no. Thank you so much for First Tasty for giving that sub. Sli-Fi.
From the First Tasty gifted a tier 1 sub to the Geneva.
That's why it's coming through twice. Hold on. It's coming through twice because I forgot to turn off the... There we go. The audio, the mic. Thank you so much for giving that gift sub. And then Sli-Fi, thank you much for that 49 months at tier 3. And Pyro, thank you so much for that. It's not showing up in my stream for some reason. Like, I'm not even seeing it show up. I saw Shiori do it, but then it just doesn't show up anymore. I don't know what's going on. Pyro, thank you so much for that. Months. So, not sleep more? No. I mean, yes and no. Basically, I'm going to have time to be able to exercise, do some more work, sleep at a regular pace. And I want to try to get myself at a position, actually just drop the sponsorship because it's no longer working. Apparently there's some issues with the with CIG servers. They've already mentioned that, so. Hey, Yubi. Mongo, how you doing? I wish my history teacher was this interesting. Mine was Snorefest. I am not the best history teacher in the world. I am a passable history teacher at best. Trust me. Someone said earlier that Bearded mentioned something, so. I have not seen myself, though. Oh, you like history? Name all of history. Floor tour. Yes, or lore tours. I'm touring the floor of the lore of the ships. That's what that means. It basically means that I'm going to be going around and talking about all of the ships and the history of the companies there. So, Paul, question if I may. That's what this is for. How disruptive do you think the introduction of the Fury is going to be? Pirates and orgs will love it. Miners and haulers and traders will hate it, I think. I mean, all right. Let Lord Daddy sit you down and give you the hard talk, the hard truth and reality for all y'all. And I know many of y'all won't like this. I know this because every time I mention something, if someone loses their shit and says, I'm going to quit the game now. I spent millions of dollars on this game for what? It's like, oh, God damn it. Don't have a temper tantrum. Because this isn't something new. But this is something that I think a lot of people forget and a lot of people don't really realize. Which is, being a hauler is not supposed to be easy mode. You're not supposed to be able to do everything without any consequences. you're going to have consequences. And while right now it's other players, eventually it'll be pirates and NPCs. You won't always be able to get away with everything you're doing right now. And that time is coming soon. Probably within the next 2 years, that gameplay style is going to become much harder, much more difficult. You're going to have to pay for escorts or other services, you know, NPCs on your ships, hire players, heaven forbid. But like, if it becomes harder for you to be a hauler because, you know, players are now makes it easier for them to pirate, what's going to happen? It's just going to happen with NPCs. And before anyone goes, oh, NPCs are brain dead, when CAG figures out how to fix the server issues, which they will eventually, I mean, it's steady progress. I know it feels like forever, but it just takes time. Time and practice. They need to get server meshing done. We've all seen what CIG's NPCs do with high FPS. They fucking murder you. They will destroy you. They will crumple you up into a ball and bash you against the wall until you're nothing but bloody pulp, and then they will pee on your corpse. Like, CIG will make NPCs difficult, especially pirate NPCs. So, if this concerns you, you are so much better now than you will be in a couple of years. Like, this is easy mode. CIG recently nerfed their NPCs a bit so they will miss their shots a bit more often. Yes, but they're going to find a balance to the point where they're going to make them difficult. Yeah. They also stand on chairs, so I'm not too concerned. Charles, don't take this the wrong way, but eventually that will go away. So, if you're preparing for right now, if you're playing the game in the moment, you only care about what's out right now, and you don't give an absolute flying fuck about the future of Star Citizen, you have nothing to worry about. Just sit back, chill, and relax, and just play the game. So you lose interest and you leave. But if you're going to play this game a lot longer, if this is your forever game, or if this is your main MMO you want to hold on to, probably a good idea to start practicing or preparing for that inevitability, that the NPCs will eventually stop just standing on chairs and SEAL Team derping the Paul Blart Mall Cop esque brain damage to like reaching through walls and pulling you through like it's a fucking Matrix. Paul, so you think the extension of the Ship King Climbers is way too early when the game is just a stable enough phase yet? I mean, probably, but I've already made the other popular opinion. I don't care. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, it's going to make some people have feel-bads, but you're going to have feel-bads when the game's more stable too. I'm not against risk at all. I just see the things like the Fury upsetting metas and so forth. I ain't quitting the hauling trading, but I might do it myself to learn enough combat to defend myself. It's probably a good idea. That's what's going to happen. CIG is going to always shake up the meta. They're going to take the meta and they're going to throw it on its head and they're going to spank it. Spank it like a baby. Like a baby that's been bad. Make sure that baby can breathe. I don't know why you spank babies. Don't spank babies. It's bad, actually. But they always throw the meta into whack. I mean, look at mining. Mining this last patch is completely on its head because they've completely threw out the old meta and a new one. Do not spank babies. It's actually a bad idea. that's not good. It's psychologically damaging. Well, CIG's plan is to have NPCs all have their own unique skills risk system. Not all NPCs taking higher risk with higher skill and be best. Some will be dumb and risky. Some will be smart, not take the risk. Some will be high skilled and take risk anyways. Yeah, but we all know, Nick, the first implementation of this is going to be a third of them are going to be absolute Rambos. A third of them are going to be just average guys, and a third of them are just going to be fucking brain dead or just disappear. Yeah, the whole like the whole claim timers thing, it was going to happen eventually. And yeah, there are going to be bugs, but you can't balance around bugs. It's shitty, it sucks, but like that's the reality. This is not the final game. I think that's what a lot of people kind of forget about, is that while they enjoy the game right now, the game they're playing is not finalized. And so whatever CIG does to push towards that final game, they're going to do, especially if they think they can get away with it. I'd like to ask about the Spirit series from Crusader. What are your thoughts, impressions, and expectations from that ship? You like the Freelancer? You like the Cutlass? It's that, but Crusader-fied. I don't expect it to be shaking up the meta. I don't expect it to change how everything is done. It's a medium ship, but from a new manufacturer, which is good. We need more medium ships like that. It's a small MSR with that data, yeah. Maybe I'm just tired and jaded, but a lot of this stuff I've always been of the opinion of this is not the game that I paid for. This is the game I'm not, it's not there yet. And when it gets there, I'll be happy. But I don't think anyone wants this game to stay like it is forever. They want more stuff, better materials, like new gameplay loops. I think just a lot of people don't realize what that means because a lot of folks are going like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do more gameplay loops. I want all those things. But then when they actually get to it, it's like, wait, no, I don't want this. Like bounty hunting, for instance. Being a bounty hunter right now is go to a location, find the target that's obviously marked, maybe fight through some of their friends, but kill them, just blow up their ship, and then you're done. Check cash, done, on to the next one. In the future, it's going to be go to the last known location, scan, access records, find the right signature that matches the right trails that you find, follow the trail, go to a local, figure out, talk about the person, give them the description of the person, they give you an answer. You finally find the target. Go to the target, don't kill the target, but knock them out or disable them somehow. Then drag them back, lock them up in your your cold storage, fly off to a location, drop them off onto a place and get paid. So it goes from being, 10, 15 minute experience to being, an hour to do a mission like that. And I don't think they're going to bump up the rewards that much. Like right now, it's pretty high. You might get the same exact reward for 3 times the time it's going to take. Everything was looking good. Apparently, just some issues with the back end right now. Well, I think A1 will shake things up a bit more stealthy. I don't think it's really stealthy as much. It's just bombs. It's going to be a smaller bomber. But like everything else, it will settle down once people get over through first rush. Yeah. Question, have we heard any more about an org management update? Nope. Nothing. It's something they want to do, but they've got so many other things they got to deal with first. I can see ships being loaded with Furies and these things being swarmed around, killing anything that flies next to each other, like the battle scenes from Star Wars. That's what CR and the team want. Well, the target's probably surrounded by friends. Yes. Question, how do you think the change from blowing up a ship to soft deathing all ships will play with your method of bounty hunting with your mentioned bounty hunting 2.0? Well, by the time we get bounty hunting 2.0, they'll probably do away with soft death and increase with the current, what is it called? The resource system. So like the resource system will effectively soft death. I don't think CIG wants to keep soft death around a long time. They want to quickly move over from soft death to disable, because that's what resource system allows for the disabling portion to work, where you attack a ship and you hit its engines, or you hit its power plant, or you hit the connection so it doesn't work anymore, because they want the players to be able to recover from disabling, so it's more of a get back and forth and not a just shoot the thing until it stops moving situation. They want a more dynamic gameplay aspect. What's the fastest ship in game? The Herald, I think. I wonder if the Mirai can be soft death or just hit and boom. It probably has a soft death state, but it's probably not much beyond that. I really hope they address their idea of E-War. They will. It's just, they need to get a lot of other things done before that. A great example of this is mining. So let me explain something. For all the doom and gloom that I might be presenting right now, which is unintentional, more of a trying to set expectations, is CIG has also been doing some absolute speed running of stuff I've never seen them do before. Mining, I cannot express to you, if you're not I don't do a lot of mining. I don't do that kind of thing. But if you do, you understand just how massive, I mean, absolutely gigantic this change is. You see all of those, like, those guides, like, oh, make 6 billion UEC in 15 minutes. That's not it anymore. Can't do that anymore with mining. It's gone. They've increased the time, the UEC to per hour ratio. They've just decreased it. They just shot that into the fucking ground. Mining is no longer grind till you get cool stuff and then go fuck around. It's now a loop, like a gameplay loop. Because not only do you have to go to different locations to find the right stuff, but the best place to then refine said stuff is far away. And when you get to that location, the best place to sell it is going to be far away from that. So, and don't think you're safe, my fellow traders. I'm definitely a trader, not a smuggler or anything legitimate, because they're coming for us next. 320 is where they're like, no, you next, you here. So they'll fix trading and then immediately smash your face into the ground with the progression, and then they're going to go straight for bounty hunting, and it seems incredibly fast. Like they're already working on like hull munching. Salvage may actually be entirely completed in a year. It was released in 3.18 back in March, and it might be done by the end of December. I know that sounds pathetic, but that's fucking fast for CIG. That's insanely fast. They've never done something like that before. Almost certainly, Nick, it's going to be done before next March. It'll be done within a year. Because it's already being worked on. So, I'm coming from DayZ. All this sounds great and complex. Star Citizen has layers, like an ogre. All right, you can, if you just want to fly around and do space stuff, you can fly around and do space stuff. There's plenty of stuff like that, and that sort of fly around, do pew pew and other space things is expanding, especially since they're doing a lot of missions, stuff like that. A lot of new missions, versions, all sorts of things. But if you want to get into the nitty gritty, the details, CIG is starting to really lean into that. Oh, so that's where they're saying check yourself before you shrek yourself, and Star Citizen comes from. Yes. Won't hull munging require a rework of ship's interiors? Many things don't seem like they can be cut through. They can't. What do you mean? No, they can. Because they'll blow up portions of the ship. You're not going to see the interior of the ship 1-to-1 with its damage state. It will be take portion of the ship, throw it into the damage state, throw it into the munch, and have it munch away. Yeah. So, like, for instance, the Vulture probably won't be able to munch everything. It'll probably have a size limit. There'll only be a certain size pieces that it can munch. So, like, you wouldn't use a Vulture for a large shipwreck. You could use it for portions of the large shipwreck, but not all of it. You might need a Reclaimer because it has the big, chunky monkey things. So, they don't need a gold pass on all of the ships for component salvage, because component salvage is already in the game, Big Cat. 319 has component salvage. It's not perfect. It's not every single component, but it's there. You just can't salvage anything above a size 3, which isn't that much. Most ships are pretty small in Star Citizen. Don't think that CIG won't do hole munching where you just have to eat the whole damn, like, you just won't be able to pull out that size 3 shield generator. That's just stuck there. You just gotta munch it away. Yeah, you're not the only one, Timothy. There's a lot of people who say it's down. I think the entire back end is down right now. They haven't updated message of the day, and there's no mentions of it, but someone said that Bearded, who's one of the CIG people, one of the CIG server people, was saying they're working on it. The status page updated? Status page has been updated. Yep. I'll pull it up. So the status page has been updated. There is a major outage right now, so the servers are down. Question: will hull munching and resource gameplay both probably requiring a lot of rework to fit ships that are needed? What are you talking about? No, we're not going to, like, resource gameplay will probably be in the game before any sort of gold pass. CIG will just, because, all right, so let me explain to y'all. Resource gameplay does not mean you have to have every single ship with those little fuse boxes. They can fake that, and most of them are fake, especially on the smaller ships. They'll just not have them on the larger ships if they don't have to. The reality is there's not that many larger ships that would require a fuse box. You might have one, and I guess they're called relays. One relay in something like a Freelancer or a Cutlass. You know, maybe 2 on something like a Star Runner. But they don't have to do anything crazy. They just have to slap that asset onto the ship and have it work. Have a gun. It have anything to do with the major solar flares today? I don't think so. Question: will hole munching require the soul system to be released? I mean, I get why people are saying, because people are based off of, are looking at this logically. Like, you can't munch holes if the holes aren't built to munch, if you can't get all of the components out. But the answer is CIG just won't care. Like, there are 2 statuses right now. There is damaged and dead. And there'll be a disabled one which is basically like a ship being off or just can't turn on. And that's, you won't be able to hole munch that. Yes, resource gameplay is required to have ships that have pipes, but you can fake the pipes, which they do right now and will in the future. There's not going to be a physical pipe that they model in the ship. It's just going to be a imaginary line that goes through the hull. And the thing that really matters with those resource pipes is the relays. But relays only exist on larger ships. that won't exist on any of the smaller ships. So they can 100% fake all of that with small ships. Anything below a freelancer can be faked. Nope, they're gonna be fakes. That's the whole gameplay loop. There's no physical pipeline that's going to be running. You're not going to see actual pipes. You're just going to know where the game's going to know where that pipe would be digitally. It's a fake. It's still being tracked. It's tracked by the DGS. It's tracked by your client and tracked by the major server. There's just no physical like pipe that you'll see. Someone asked about a reclaimer. So should I keep my reclaimer or trade for a mole? I'm on the fence because I'm a reclaimer for big state is too big for stations. You'll eventually be able to do. I think you can. No, not right now. I think you can dock. You'll be able to dock in the future. I don't know when they'll fix that, but. So either they'll have specific laser cutters for scrapping tool, or we'll just have a cutting mode. There is a cutting tool already in the multi-tool. But I don't know if we're going to see that working with munching. Yeah, exactly. You think you could shoot at, you just won't see it in game. Like if you look at like a display, it'll show you where those pipes are in the display. But if you were to look in the files and like clip through the hole to see where it should be, you'll see fucking nothing. There'll be nothing there. It'll just be empty space. Do you think there will be a tractor beam version of the Fury, or will tractor beam drones come first? I think we'll have tractor beam ships first before that. Question, what does the future consider injuries hold, considering their departure from non-military / war manufacturing? Probably what we see right now. I don't see that much. Yeah, I wouldn't sit there and say hard space shipbreakers. You're not going to see hard space shipbreaker for Star Citizen. That's not how it's going to work. It's going to be a light version. So like right now when you blow up a ship has preset break lines. And sometimes you can break those components, those little smaller breaks, again, into smaller portions by shooting them. So like the ship will break up into certain specific locations when it dies. It will likely, when hole munching first comes in, need to be dead in order for it to be happening in the first place. There will be some things they will skip over, because CIG always does that with these sorts of things. No, Fury is not going to be $45. Fury is almost certainly going to be $65. War Bond, $70 regular. Because CIG, let me put it this way. Does anyone want to know why the steel costs as much as it does? Because it's a garbage ship. CIG argues that the reason why they priced the steel at that price is because of the components. Technically, the steel has 4 extra guns on it. And so those 4 extra guns plus the seats means that it's more expensive. So if you want to look at the Fury, it has 4 size 2s and missiles as well. Look at ships that have around 4 size 2s and missiles. Those ships are $60+ Like the cheapest version of that, I think, is like the Mustang Delta, which is $65. It's effectively an Arrow without a QT drive. So It's got to be cheaper than the Arrow because it doesn't have the QT drive, but it still has the guns. It's not going to be cheaper than an Aurora, for instance. And an Aurora is $35 because the Aurora has four size 1s. So it can't be cheaper than an Aurora. It has to be more expensive than the Aurora, and it has to be more expensive than the Aurora LN, which is technically $45 because it has 2 size 2s and 2 size 1s. So it's got to be minimum $50, but then it would be cheaper than the Delta, which has bigger guns than that. So it's got to be around the same price as the Delta, which makes it $60 to $65. And CIG has been pushing how much money they can sell for it. So I'm fairly certain we'll see a $65 price tag for Warbond and a $70 price tag for for everything else. The Quantum Drive doesn't matter though. The Quantum Drive is a tiny portion of it. It is a missing component, so it's got to be cheaper than some of those bigger, like the Arrow. Did I say Jump Drive? I don't remember what I said, but Quantum Drive. And the Arrow is $75. And if you're sitting here saying, Paul, why would you think CIG would sell this thing for $70, even though it doesn't have a QT drives, and the Arrow is so much better? It's like, yeah, I would, because look at every fucking else things they've made. Recently, they've been making tons of ships, which are in the middle of nowhere in terms of their pricing. They don't really fit very well in terms of goals, and they're priced not competitively at all. The Nomad, for example, is a terrible, terrible price for what it does compared to what its competitors do. It's like only $10 more, $10 cheaper than a Cutlass. It's like, no. Yeah, but bet isn't that important, Red J. Guns are incredibly important for CIG. Like that's the thing they really worry about. I think Paul undervalues the Quantum Drive since it's a single seat most important component in the ship's function. I don't think it's the most important component in the ship's function, because its function is not like the Fury's function is not travel; it's combat. I think you all are undervaluing because it doesn't have a Quantum Drive. But like, let's look at the price of the MPUV cargo, like $30, right? $20. It's $35. Okay. And let's look at the Pisces. The C8 Pisces is I can't find out how much money it is because it doesn't say. $45, $50. And the Pisces has 2 size 1s. It's only $10 more expensive than an Argo cargo. And the only difference it has is that it has a Quantum Drive and guns. That's it. But then you look at the C8R, which is $65, and it has guns and a med bed. So the med bed is like what, $20 value to that? There's no way that's worth $65. Why does in old CIG terms that would have been maybe $10, $10, but now it's $20. I think y'all are trying to think about it in terms of good value, and I'm thinking about it in terms of CIG wants to make fucking money, and they will price it at a price they think you will be willing to pay for it if they hype it enough. But the MO also has mining materials. The balance is components. what are the numbers of components, the size of the components, and the type of components it has. Saying that quantum drive is the only thing that matters is entirely wrong, because there's plenty of ships without quantum drives that have a lot of price for it. Let's look at the other one. The other one, which is the P-72 Archimedes, which is what, 40 bucks? $35. So it's $35. It's about the same price. So the Archimedes uses 4 size 1s, right? It's nowhere near as nimble or as well kind of crafted. It doesn't even have the components onto it. It has a size 1 power plant, 2 size 2 coolers, and a size 2 shield. No, I don't think so. I think we're still seeing $60, $65 war bonds, $70 for the standard. Yeah, but it has more, has less components. Trust me, I wish it was cheaper, but I'm not going to undersell CIG's own pricing, because CIG's own pricing has gone up. Like, what's the price of the cutter? What's the price of the cutter, chat? Nope. Not $45. The price is $65. It's $45 right now, but they said they want to move it all the way up to $65. Yeah, but they want the ship itself to be $60. Yeah, but the $45 doesn't make a lot of sense for the ship. If you're buying the cutter, you're buying it as a starter pack, which is $60. It was rude that the cutter was only Warbond. Yeah, $45 was its original offer only for Warbond, and then they increased it to 60. That's another example. The Mule is $45, but CIG's bad at pricing ground vehicles. Let's look at another recent one. I mean, the Pisces is $65 as well, right? Is the C8R Pisces worth $65? No. No, because, I mean, in-game, it's damn near $1 million. Do you know what the price of the cutter is in-game, chat? Because I just looked this up, because I did a video on it. Yep, there's a major outage right now. It's on the status page says they're down. It's only 675,000 UEC. The cutter is only 675,000 UEC. All right, if you're paying more than 40 bucks for that ship, it's a rip, giant rip off. But that's the problem. No, that is an argument there, Andrew. The argument is you don't buy a ship standalone necessarily, especially like starter ships. They sell the starter package at $60, and it's not worth a $60 price tag for a starter ship. You could buy it on your own. That's fine. I bought the Ranger. What is it? The CR, the racing version. I can't remember the name of it. The Ranger CR is way overpriced. It's not worth the money, but I bought it because I think it's cool. Hey, 4/4. My point being, I think you all are in for a rude awakening when it comes to the actual price of the ship. I think it's going to be more than you think. I think a lot of people are going to grumble over the price, but people will still pull out the credit cards. Because that's just how this works in Star Citizen, for some reason. I've thought, like, oh, no, there's no way they're going to sell this for any more than this, and then they sell it for more than that. I'm like, what the fuck? So many times. Yeah, because people are like, TIE Fighter. Yeah, and then you won't buy it, which is fine. Let me put it this way. We're arguing about this, but I hope I'm wrong. I just take a look at what that thing can do in terms of combat, and I look at its peers, and its peers are $75 and up, but the only thing it doesn't have is a quantum drive. It's an Arrow without the quantum drive in terms of gameplay. There's no way the quantum drive is worth $40. Like, or $30, because we already see, like, the P8, the Archimedes is $35, and the LN, which is basically an Archimedes, is $45. So it's $10 difference. So what's $10 less than $75? $65. Well, that's because it got bigger there, Death Trooper. The BMM was originally $250 because it was supposed to be the size of a caterpillar. It was basically going to be the size of what the Hercules is today. And then it just ballooned in size. That's what I'm saying, House. Is that it's going to be a $60 to $70 because of the 4 SIs 2s. It's the Cuddy Steel tax. That's what I'm saying. No, they're not going to make a Fury starter package. My point of using the cutter as an example is that the cutter is marketed as a starter ship, and you buy it with the starter pack. Very few people are going to buy that ship standalone unless they want to use it as like an LTI token or a giveaway, or maybe they just want to have it. But the price of the cutter is $60. It's $45 for standalone, but $60. And that's a bad price for what it does for its starter pack compared to, say, the $45 Aurora or Mustang, which are better deals. Andrew, I get that you were saying snubs are tougher to sell because people without ships to carry don't have reason to get it. Yet they sell the Nova or the Tonk for $100. That's an incredibly difficult sell because you need a ship to be able to take it anywhere. But they sell it for $100. Same problem with the snubs. Yeah, and the Fury is going to be worth the it's an Arrow without a quantum drive. Like, the Fury won't just fit in a Cutlass. Well, no, I don't think the Fury will fit in a Cutlass. It might. Can you fit an Ursa in a Cutlass? It can fit in a Corsair. It can fit in a Connie. Right? That's how small it is. It's the size of an Ursa. It'll fit in a Carrack hanger, yeah. Tonk is a total rip buy in game. That's my point. The Fury is going to be a fine ship to buy in game, but I think CIG knows it's an LTI token, and they will price that as well, price it appropriately, which means that they're going to give you a charge because they know people will buy it because they want to do CCU upgrade chains and all that kind of stuff, and they'll be like, cool, here's your tax. Oh wait, it's only worth, you really think it's only worth $50? Cool, pay me $10 more. This is LTI. The issue with prices is if we didn't pay the prices to start with and didn't fall into the FOMO or needing to be special over the others, then the prices would be lower. Probably. Which is why whenever someone says, is X and X worth it? Is X and X ship worth it? The answer is no. No ship is worth it. The only ship that's worth the price is the Aurora or the Mustang at $45 because it's a very low price you can get in on it, and it gets you the game. Those are the only things that matter. because everything else can be purchased in game. Buying ships is not worth the price. Spectrum is connected to the game, Fishy. Spectrum and the game run on the same servers, if I recall correctly. What if you don't have the time to grind AUEC, though? You don't have to grind AUEC. It doesn't take that much time to earn money. Just playing the game. This is another problem that I think a lot of people have. Because we had this discussion before where people are like, Star Citizen, well, all these other ships are pay to win. It's like, no ship is pay to win. I've seen talented pilots in crappy ships absolutely dunk on people in more expensive ships. Like, what's the most meta fighter right now? It's the Gladius, which is $90. But you can absolutely dunk on people who spent $300, $400 on their ships in a Gladius. I've seen people in Auroras fuck up people in Hornets. Like, the problem becomes more skill level, and you don't get skillful by you pull out your wallet. You get skilled by practicing with the game. The Steel is the most overpriced ship, but also the Steel is a good example of CIG's pricing methods. That's how they do it, which is fucking stupid, but you know. I have yet to see a crappy fighter pilot beat a talented fighter pilot, you know, just because they pulled out the wallet. I've never seen it. Oh yeah, the Steel is cheaper than the black. It's like $10,000 UEC cheaper than the black. The crappy pilot was B. You killed somebody who was better than you in a one-on-one skilled match. Apart from buying a starter pack, you don't even need to do that. You could still earn it back after the wipe. CIG doesn't like to do wipes. Contrary to popular belief, CIG is not sitting there plotting, being like, yes, we're going to get people to pay them, because they need to test their databases. They don't like wipes. They want people to beat up on their databases so they can try to fix it. Well, I had some help. Well, I mean, there's no such thing as a fair fight in games like that. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, the point being, like, a lot of this comes down to, if you don't have time to play the game, why are you playing the game? You know, like, I don't know how to say this. It's like, well, I don't have money and I have no time. Okay, why did you buy a video game? Like, it's just a strange concept to me. It's like, why did you just spend $45 on some nice food? You'll have more enjoyment, or invest it. I don't know. Go get some meals from McDonald's. That's probably a better deal than like fun, Paul. Well, then you'll enjoy it. There's no more reason for grinding it. If you enjoy playing 1 or 2 hours a day, maybe 1 or 2 hours a week, cool. It's not really a question of whether CIG likes wipes. It's a question of whether CIG can manage the databases well enough to avoid them. They cannot. They did for a while, but once they completely changed the back end, yeah, they've been having troubles with it. Nothing is worse deal than $45 McDonald's. You got me there. I don't have my party screen, which is really important, but Hey, what's up, Devin? Thank you for that raid. How you doing? You playing some Star Citizen? Paul Unplugged, yeah. The AstroPub Unplugged. I'm not hearing double alerts there at all. I'm only hearing it once. Maybe you have two things open. Nice tonight. Thank you. How you doing? I'm great. Well, yeah, some time in the verse today. Nice. Tis the season of Star Citizen playing with Invictus coming up. It's weird. Well, some people are not in for grinding ships. Some people will settle for 1 to 2 ships and explore the verse. That's true too. I think that's another thing that a lot of people forget is that Star Citizen's a sandbox. And while a lot of people have heard the term sandbox, it's thrown around a lot by game devs and by executives and studios and such like that. I don't think a lot of people have really experienced what sandbox means. A sandbox is named so because just like a sandbox when you were a kid, you could make castles, you could make ditches.
Take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Get another kid's eyes.
Celine Star Drago just resubscribed for 13 months. 07 Paul.
Thank you so much there, Celine. I don't have, like, my party screen here. Give me 2 seconds. I'll do this first now. Sound alert should be on.
Z21 just got a sub from Z242 Pilot. Z242 Pilot gifted a tier 1 sub to Z Pilot 21.
The Z pilots are gifting each other subs.
Sub in the channel.
It's not a read out, but is there a little reverb in there? There might be a little reverb. Thank you so much for that. Garrys Mod is a sandbox. Yeah, Garrys Mod is a great example of a sandbox. Where like people kind of come up with what they're doing. And that's the point. It's like Star Citizen's end goal is to be a place where you can just do shit. Just do things. The difference between, say, a traditional, like, say, Garrys Mod sandbox is that it's an MMO. So it's going to have some consequences. There's still going to be some framework around it. There's still going to be a game around it. But they'll let you do other things. And as a result, I think a lot of people are so much focused on, like, well, I want to have the best ship. And the answer is, well, what do you want to do? Because ships only facilitate what you can do. Sometimes you can facilitate where you can go, but they're not the game. We just get so focused on ships because that's what they sell, and because, it's a space game. Ships are a thing. But this isn't Elite Dangerous, where the ships are your progression model. Ships just are the tools. They're the toys in the sandbox. But they're not the only toys. Your armor, your equipment, all that stuff is also the toys. And that's what you use to have fun. I Molly whip with the Titan. My Titan is my horse. I bought more stuff in Star Citizen, Destiny than Star Citizen, but I play Star Citizen way more than I do Destiny. Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, Night Cub. I'm sure the Enterprise carrier. Is there an Enterprise carrier? I'm sure if you named your ship the Enterprise carrier, maybe. Historically, at least. The name, yes. The Enterprises tend to be. That's always my response to play with people. I'm like, what am I winning? What are the Star Citizen victory conditions? And even if you take the most basic thing, which is combat, and say, okay, well, I can win in a fight versus somebody else. That's when you start breaking down to like, well, no one ship is better than another. They're not designed to be. They're designed to be good in the right pilot. I've seen talented pilots use, as I said before, ships that are not the meta to beat ships that were meta at the time or were pretty good. Paul's so right. There's no best ship except the Percy, of course. When it comes out, then there's no obviously the best ship. Oh, laughs in Polaris. We had to talk about this on the Discord. I forgot who it was, but someone was like, oh, I'd love to see a Perseus versus Polaris fight. And me and a couple other people were like, that would be the most boring fight ever, because the Polaris would never let that Perseus get close. Because the Perseus is a turtle. It's armored and it's got lots of guns, but its actual range is not that much. And the Polaris is almost certainly a hare. It's fast. It's not as armored necessarily, but it's got a lot of long range torpedoes. So all it's going to do is launch some torpedoes at the Perseus and then fly away, and then stop and launch torpedoes at the Perseus and then fly away. And if the Polaris doesn't want to fight, the Polaris can just run away. The best ship is friendship. That is true. That is a saying from Elite Dangerous that I agree with.
My spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers.
Those industry ships will require people, is how they'll be modeled.
Take away my space game.
Woo! Alright. I keep forgetting to do this. I gotta add an actual screen. Oh, I know what I can do. Hold on, chat. Hold on. Bear with me.
JoyPop_ just resubscribed for 10 months. Oh,
Thank you, JoyPop. Okay. Stay with me here. Okay. Nope. No, I didn't want that. Bad. I don't want that. I was trying to fix. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Stop it. Stop. Stop with the purple paw. Boop. Close. But you look beautiful. Hey, Loken. Hey, thank you for gifting 5 subs. Really Days, Caniac, New Soul Sounds, 1RCN, and Mimic Twitch. Thank you so much. Yes, Star Citizen is really scuffed right now. They just went down and stuff like that. Loken, welcome. Thank you for that. 42 months. Oh my God, you had the 42 months. That is awesome there, Loken. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll be hanging out with Loken here in a bit. Can we get a shout-out command for Devin and also for Loken at some point? Yeah, you got off right at the right time because it just died. It just died. Jedi, here. Let me show you. Let me show you what's going on. Refresh it to make sure. Major outage. Yeah, thank you, Cupan. You're turning violet, Violet. It's the Barney Bar Man. You just deleted your PTU folder. It's your fault. All right, let's watch the ISE. It's actually a pretty good one. Though it is kind of one-minded. Actually, before we do, since Loken is here, I can show you this. One of the things for those you don't know, I've been doing miniature hobbying for about 2 years now. I used to do it when I was a kid, and I got back to it because of COVID. And so I've been getting my skills up slowly but surely. And I've been trying to do edge highlighting. And I think I finally got the hang of edge highlighting. It's not as hard as I thought it was, but God, is it tedious. Logan will like this. It's a custom chapter. The Raven's Eyes. At least the idea was, I really like the color scheme too. The idea is to base it heavily off of like ravens and like Norse ravens, not necessarily like Raven Guard. Kind of a mixture of get up and chop you into bits and then sneakily chop you to bits and or shoot you. And I'm really happy with this. Like, I know I'll get better at it over time. Because I know it's not perfect. I'm not shooting for perfect, but I'm just trying to like make it better and easier on my own hand. But I like how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty well. Because at first I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm gonna see if I can do dry brushing. And it's like, no, dry brushing made it look really dusty, and I couldn't really. It's like, fine, I'll do edge highlighting. And so I watched a bunch of stuff, and of course, the person who helped me the most was Duncan Rhodes, because Duncan Rhodes is the miniature equivalent of Bob Ross, and you cannot change me otherwise. If you want to have a good time, pull up Duncan Rhodes' painting tutorials and just vibe, He's got that Bob Ross style, so. He's actually got his own painting supply company called Tooth and Coats. So, a chainsaw and a shotgun? That could only be topped with a chainsaw shotgun. Well, it's a heavy pistol, but it's basically like a shotgun. It fires small grenade launchers. It fires 40 millimeter grenade rockets out of it. All right. And untrue. The more your paint, the more of your paint water that you drink, the better your paint. Might as well be a handheld version of the Apache's gun. Pretty much. They're rocket-propelled bullets. They're the zip guns. The old, I forgot what they were called. So there's like a small version of Ross. He's like a British version of the Ross. But yes, he's also like a miniature version. It's like a small. He's small. Gyrojet, thank you. Yeah. It's the Gyrojet, but instead of firing bullets, it fires grenade. Like, it's about, what is the caliber? It's not 40 millimeter, but it's close. It's like a 30 millimeter cannon, but it's fired with rockets. It's got its own like cartridge, so it fires off with traditional propellant. But once it gets out of the barrel, they attach a rocket to it to make it go faster and in 0G, I guess. Does it actually make it better? Probably not, but this is 40K logic, so fuck it. It makes it go faster. It's a Gyrojet AP grenade launcher. Yeah.
You can take away my spaceship.
Are they 50 cal? I thought they were pretty small.
You can take away my space suit.
Is he a capsule of Ross? Yes. This is where I'm going to do the thing.
Take away my space game.
There you go. You get purple ball. I need to be able to put this in a... My goal was to do this.
Moria_the_chose just resubscribed for 14 months. Hey Astro, hope you are doing well.
Thank you so much for that 18 months of support there. Moria are the chosen. I think I know what I can do. I think I know what I can do. I'm going to go to party. My goal was to set it up so that I can do... Actually, I think I know I can do. Give me 2 seconds, chat. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to go into studio mode so it's a little bit easier for me to do this. Okay. I'm going to go... Delete. Yes. Delete. Yes. Go with add. Video capture device. Party cam. Okay. This doesn't seem to work.
Take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Dig just resubscribed for 17 months. Love what you do, Mr. AstroPub.
Thank you much for that there, 89 Dig Dug. Some of his Gyrojet were 12 millimeters and some were 13 millimeters when I found. None that were 12.7. Okay, so they're bigger than 50 cal. I'm trying to do this live chat, so I'm gonna double check. Filters. That changed? Yes, it did. So basically, chat, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to copy this camera onto another scene, but at the same time, have it be a different camera, a different source. Okay, so let's try this. Let me disable studio mode. Let's go to the party. You can't hear me, can you? Hold on. Yeah, I'll figure this out later. There we go. Yeah, I'll figure it out later. All right. Sorry. So what I'm trying to do is set it up so the camera's in a, because I actually have it set up here. Let me show y'all. I'll show you a little. It's just a normal camera. It's the same camera, but it doesn't have anything crazy on it. So I don't know how I was managed to get this done. I didn't do anything crazy. I did it to the scene. Camera. Okay. I'm brilliant, chat. Hold on. Give me a second. Scene. Go. Okay. I'm a genius, chat. I'm a genius. I just need source. So the goal is I can do this. If I have a little hint, I can probably do. Probably do this. So now you can have my dancing screen. So that, and then I can hit it again, and I can turn off the scene. But I'll have to figure that out later. Sorry, chat. Doing some experimentation. Live. All right. CIG hacked you because your mouth bad at the X1. Yes. So what was the question? Predator cam? No. Question: will the rework of Lorville why isn't the Invictus at Lorville this year? Because they wanted the new player experience to be done. I guess they chose Area 18 for a reason. I don't know why they chose Area 18. Maybe because it was just easier for them to like it was a more compact location. It had better performance? Probably. Okay, it could be. They had clouds. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw IAE at Lorville. That's true. Aha! I have figured it out. No, I haven't. No scene. Would be office. The source would be. Okay. And then. This isn't the one-stop solution, but I think I figured it out. So I can go like this. There we go. I figured it out, chat. All right, with that, let's get to the to watch this whole thing.
Invictus is here, and for the next 2 weeks, we'll be learning and showcasing as much as we can about the new ships and vehicles making their debut at this year's event. And since there's nothing that I can say that's anywhere as cool as what you're about to see, let's just get right to it, shall we?
We have a lot of ships and vehicles in our game now. Keeping brands with a consistent theme is important because it helps immerse you in the universe. You see a ship of a certain style and role, and you go, that's that manufacturer. So having brands and sub-brands or entirely different brands helps strengthen that narrative. MISC is traditionally very industrial, very civilian, and we really like MISC styling as a brand. It made sense to introduce Mirai as their performance subdivision.
There's a lot of possibilities for where we can take this brand in the future. And not only will Mirai be heading in new directions design-wise, it's also a great opportunity.
This right here. Why does this look so fucking familiar, chat? I'll tell you why this looks so fucking familiar. Because they did a preview of this very same thing on a sneakily peekly, which is weird because the casing looked like a quantum drive. This is not a quantum drive. This is a thruster, I believe. So the answer is they've made thrusters modular. You can remove and replace thrusters now. Or at least that's the plan. That's what they were showing off. Then what is this? It says flammable fuel. Then what is this? This is the exact same thing they showed on that preview.
Not only will Mirai be heading in new directions design-wise, it's also a great opportunity
fuel port? No, because the
to
fuel
go
port's at the top.
in unsafe directions that maybe MISC wouldn't have done themselves. Kind of blending of human and safe directions
there it was again.
That maybe MISC wouldn't have done themselves.
Boom, right there. You sure this isn't the thruster? Maybe a cooler vent? Because the fuel's right here. That's not the fuel thing.
Kind of blending of human and Xi'an technology already in MISC, and one of their charges is going to be taking it even farther.
With the introduction of Mirai as a brand,
Simtex, I'm curious how the thrusters and the Fury get fuel since they're floating. Aliens. Simtex. Aliens. Literally, that's the technology they're stealing from. Aliens.
and this gave us the perfect opportunity to introduce a more military fighter to the lineup. And so we introduced the Mirai.
I thought he sees me now. I do see you, Zio
Fury. The Mirai Fury is extremely compact. It allows itself to fold up into as small a package as we could possibly make a ship of this classification.
The Fury is a cockpit with some engines, some components, and some weapons strapped to it, to put it bluntly. So the
Yeah, so those engines are the same engines you'd see on a Santok Yai or a Cartual. They're Xi'an engines.
Mirai Fury aims to take everything that makes Xi'an super impressive with all of its grav tech and ability to gimbal thrusters and be super maneuverable. It has really cool folding wings that allows you to get it into tiny ships.
So if you have a ship with a cargo grid or an area for cargo that's large enough and a door big enough to fit it in, you can get the ship on board.
Does not fit in there.
And helps provide on-demand support from any attacks that you may find yourself coming under whilst out in deep space.
Some might look at this and say the Morai theory reminds them of another popular spacecraft. What would you say to that?
I don't know what they're talking about.
Polio A Stilettos. Insert Gian Tech Technobabble. It's got to be smaller than found on the Centaur Galley, right? Probably. It's probably smaller than we find on the Cartu Wall as well, but same kind of idea.
So when you approach the Fury, you'll first notice this big glass dome that gives you massive visibility, and then the seat will pop out and come.
It will always be called the Stiletto to me.
A little bit like the Asperia Talon. So you get to look at this massive glass canopy, which is super helpful for the pilot. And when it's in like its collapsed mode, you get to see all the different underneath parts of the wing with all like the no step on it, where the maintenance guys would have to step on. You've got the component bays coming out the side of the body. Everywhere you go, there's just components everywhere. It's crazy how densely packed this thing is together. You've got air-to-air refueling port on the top. You've got all your personal storage. And you have the flaps at the back as well. We can't wait to get atmospheric flight in so those things can work for you. The lights on the end of the wingtips as well that will blink intermittently, so they'll swap around. So when you're in transform mode, they'll kind of like switch which one's going. Alex did an amazing.
What use is this for, anyways? To kill your enemies, to see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. That's what this is for.
Job on that. All around the back.
To crush your enemies.
These thrusters kind of presenting themselves.
To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. That's what this is for.
To you in their gravity cradle that will flip up and down depending on whether it's landed or not. When you're in atmosphere, you'll notice the bottom ones move more than the top.
It's basically a hillbilly mix up. Did he say no steppers or maintenance steps on? Yes, Yubi. He did say that. Is it a thruster?
But once you're in space, that
it is a thruster.
It's so maneuverable.
Yeah, that's a thruster. Those are maneuvering thrusters. Vindication. Suck it.
Constantly going to be throwing it around in directions it shouldn't be. You're like pulling stupid amounts of G-forces. So having that visibility is going to be really important, and it's something we tried our best not to compromise on.
The view from the cockpit allows you to see pretty much the whole picture of combat ahead of you. You have fantastic agility to maneuver yourself around threats, and it just looks really cool. Just the cockpit picture you have with the guns in your view all the time, firing away, missiles launching right next to your head. It's a truly unique experience compared to our other ships.
We really tried to keep the HUD as minimal as possible. That was something I spent a lot of time in white box designing, like the layout of it and stuff.
It's a vomit ball, yeah. Not maneuvering, right? I think those are maneuvering thrusters, but they may be full proper thrusters.
And we ended up settling on just like a small kind of like glass transparent panel of all the MFDs and.
Y'all, rule number one: Paul's never wrong. Thank you, Navy. It feels weird that the UEE Navy says that the number one rule of the UEE Navy is that Paul is never wrong. I'll try to use that on next time I get caught for smuggling. But it's not maneuvering. I don't know. It might actually be a maneuvering thruster. It could be full thrusters. Rule number two: Paul is never wrong. They're arguing about, well, shouldn't this be a little death trap from Drake? Y'all. There's already a snub fighter from Drake. It's literally the Dragonfly. That's what it is. It's a snub fighter. Yes, it's a hover bike, but it's considered a snub fighter because it actually operates in space too. So yes, there is already a death like a death machine from Drake.
And the radar at the top, the flight controls fold out of the armrest. There's a lot going on for people flying this ship. So the last thing we want is to overthrow you with buttons. Area to actually shoot is tiny, right? This thing's like a real glass cannon. It's got such a dominating small profile. You probably look at it come towards you like, oh, what is that? It feels like a wasp, but you'll probably hear it hit you before you realize what it is. The profile of this, it's so aggressive.
The thing about this is it has maneuvering thrusters. It just has no retro thrusters. Its main thrusters are also its retro thrusters. So it stops as fast as it goes forward. That's what they mean by no maneuvering thrusters. It's used to help maneuver so it can go faster, but it's basically a stop-go thing.
It's like these massive triangle shapes, but it's still got that misc kind of flow to it. So one of the things I cannot wait to see is when I'm stood on like Daymar or something and I look up and see like 5 of these things whiz past me at stupid speed. It's just really satisfying to see this silhouette flying around, whether you're in it or on the floor looking up.
The Fury chassis is designed to support multiple variants, and we're exploring these over time. But we are introducing an additional variant alongside the base version at Invictus Launch Week. The Fury MX.
Okay, I'm gonna have to say, this thing
alongside the base version at Invictus Launch.
This is straight out of fucking Cyberpunk. This looks like a drone that would hunt you down in Cyberpunk. Stabilizers, maybe, probably stabilizers. Goddamn. Or Oblivion, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like all of those eyes is very alien almost.
Launch Week. The Fury MX takes the core of the base Fury and simply replaces all the guns with all the missiles.
The amount of missiles on the wings is just stupid. I remember being told how many we were going to be putting on it, and I like did everything I could to make sure like everything that was supposed to be a size 2 stayed a size 2. I think we've got like 20 missiles on it now, and only like I think it's 8.
Why doesn't the gun version have a blast shield?
So
because
have fun with that.
Because the gun version doesn't have the Macross Missile Massacre. All right. So for those of you who don't know, MISC is actually from Saisei in the Centauri system, which is basically Space Japan. So this thing having just fuck you amounts of missiles that it launches at once is very MISC, because that's what the freelancer MISC is actually, but also very on brand. Just overload you with missiles.
It's the absolute Nova damage variant. This thing is designed to put out the maximum amount of damage in as short a period of time as possible.
On top of all the missiles, we also add
Blast,
a
you'll see
deployable
this.
blast shield, which provides additional armor to the front of the ship,
Loaded with cluster
reducing
missiles, yes.
visibility is the trade-off for that.
We really wanted to make this variant feel different, and that's exactly what we've got here with
You'll
the
see it
blast
right here.
shield. I just think it's
Here's the blast
awesome the
shield.
way it comes down. We got the little Mirai boot screen as well, taking some of the inspiration from some of the more alien manufacturers as well, and it really gives it that kind of alien vibe. Like you can tell Xi'an Tech's been involved with it when you look at it when its blast shield's down. It's got all these cool sensors on the outside.
This thing screams like 1990s, late 80s, early 90s Japanese cyberpunk anime. Or just Japanese cyberpunk anyways. That's the aesthetic this thing screams.
It just looks utterly terrifying, and it's awesome.
So the MX is designed to launch from the parent craft, do one or more multiple missile attacks on larger crafts. So you launch, you commit to your run, deploy your blast shield down, and launch your payload, and then get out of dodge
Look at
and
that.
return. And utilizing all the tractor beam improvements in Alpha 319, you can then rearm the ship and repeat to your heart's content.
Just remember,
So the Fury is designed to compete against some of our most agile.
this is 100% going to be the most OP broken shit when it comes out, because CIG has not tested this with players, so they will 100% break the game, and then they'll nerf it in 319.1.
And capable fighters such as the Arrow and the Gladius. It does that by being much more agile than those, as well as being a smaller form. It does have limitations there. It doesn't have a quantum drive, so its range is sort of limited around planetary bodies, and ideally it is carried within other ships.
The Fury doesn't
The price, we don't know yet. I'll tell you my theory afterwards, though.
have a quantum drive because there's not room. If we tried to put a quantum drive in this thing, it would have doubled the size of it, and then it wouldn't have fit in as many ships as it can. It's more maneuverable, it's faster, it's more heavily armed, it's got everything going for it.
My favorite thing about the Mirai Fury is definitely the thrusters.
We've managed to get fully 180-degree rotating main thrusters, meaning that we don't have specific retros. This also means that it's got much more.
He didn't say maneuvering, he said retros.
efficiency when it comes to turning and strafing and all sorts of flight maneuvers, because it can put its main thrust in pretty much whichever direction it needs to go.
They are a great ship to bring along as a sort of defensive package to allow you to react to threats coming at you, or launch very short-range attacks on other ships.
I imagine people who are using like eye trackers or like, you know, they're really like on it, like looking around, trying to see what's coming up. It's going to be super useful for them because you're in dogfights constantly in this thing.
Ideally, you would bring multiple of these, and because of their size, you can load quite a lot in quite a lot of our other ships.
A lot of players and a lot of people.
You could fit 3 in the Carrack? Fuck you. You actually technically fit 4 in the Carrack. Jesus fucking Christ. Because you could fit 3 in the Carrack Bay and then 1 in the Rover Bay.
Like to bandy around the words pocket carrier. Well, this is the ship for the pocket carrier. This is the ship that will fill the pocket carrier. It's the pocket fighter.
In a fleet engagement, the Fury sort of takes on that very typical sci-fi trope of
all these heavy fighters getting wrecked by another light fighter. Stop it, CIG, they're already dead. None of this footage is representative of the actual performance of the ship. I can guarantee you that. No, we have no idea what the price is unless they say suddenly it's $100. There's no way this is $100. This is probably well, okay. So we don't know because I don't think the price has been released yet, unless someone can show it to me. But yeah, this thing is the Arrow without a almost directly. It's an Arrow without a quantum drive. So it's got to be cheaper than the Arrow, but around Arrow price.
The larger fleet engagement starts, a ship opens its doors, and all these fighters pour out of it. It is so small and compact that really bringing lots of them is no disadvantage to yourself. You just launch them all out of the ship, and they just cause merry havoc.
Yes!
I really want like aircraft carrier vibes off this.
Launch them all out. Larger fleet engagement starts, a ship opens its doors, and all these fighters pour out of it. It is so small and compact that.
Oh, so for those who don't know, for the longest time, Star Citizen fans have believed cat rule of logic, which is I fits, I sits. And people have been calculating just how many Merlins could you fit on an Idris, and it's kind of bonkers. The Merlin, you can fit like 50 of them on an Idris. Now this is the size of an Ursa, so it's a little bit bigger than an Idris, or than a Merlin. But
it was at this moment that he
not that much.
He
You could
fucked
probably
up.
fit 25 of these things in an Idris.
Really bringing lots of them is no disadvantage to yourself. You just launch them all out of the ship, and they just cause merry
Angry
havoc.
bees!
I really want like aircraft carrier vibes off this thing, and at events like Xenothreat or Jump Town, you'll just be sat on the ground looking up, defending it, and see this kind of normal-sized ship coming towards you, and you think, oh, we can deal with that. And then just Furies come flying from all directions at you, and you just don't know where to shoot. And like, all your ground-to-air defenses are like stretched because there's so many small targets fleeting around you. I just can't wait to see what the community does with this ship. This ship has a big place in my heart as it's the first vehicle I've worked on here at CIG.
Hey.
I had so much fun designing like all the intricate details. And
by the way, he's actually worked on he had a big day today. I'll just say that. He had a big day today. Because that's the other thing I will show you. Oh, it wasn't showing up. Oh no, that was Elliot who I saw earlier. I thought it was. I'm not finding him, but he posted about it recently, being like, "Hey, it's my first ship in game." But he's done I looked at his profile, and he has a bunch of other other games. He's like worked on 2 other games. Oh, he worked for Codemasters. He worked on Formula One, on F1 racing. That's what he did. He worked on that. He did environmental art for it. I'll be right back, chat.
I'm Fly.
Weapons
I'm
free,
Pilot.
y'all.
Drugs.
Good news, everyone.
Distress bacon.
Good news, everyone. Good news, everyone.
Drugs.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
I'm Fly. I'm Pilot.
Distress bacon.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Bounty hunting is a complicated
Everybody and his dog calls
I'm
himself
just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an
Fucked up. It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up. It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up. I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Drugs.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
Bounty hunting is a complicated
Everybody and his dog calls
I'm
himself
just an
an
old-fashioned
outlaw.
cowboy. It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up. It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I am missing it. What's going on? Oh, yes. We're doing that. No fun, chat. No fun.
And how it would fold away and how it would all transform when it's in deployed mode. And I was so like impressed and amazed by how everyone from all the different departments brought it together. So it was like this massive moving, everything just seems to be moving constantly when you fly it around. And it really feels like it's alive almost, and it's really satisfying to just see how it comes over. And I can't wait to work on more ships that give me that feeling.
And hopefully everyone is excited about the Fury as we are internally. It's been probably one of the most favoured ships internally during its development. Then we'll look
I
at
wonder
doing
why.
some more variants in the future.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned Mirai is making one heck of a first impression with the new Fury, that there are 2 variants making their debut at this year's event, and that good things sometimes do come in small packages, and that if there ever was a ship that punched above its weight class, this would pretty much be the one. I said the thing. Now, don't forget that Invictus Launch Week starts proper
He said the
tomorrow,
thing, chat.
with all the
We're done.
festivities you're used to returning alongside with it. How many F8 Lightnings are going to be stolen this year? We really want to know. Well, I mean, because I definitely don't have anything wagered in that office pool that we definitely don't have going. And of course, enjoy the improved new player experience, lore build, tractor beam improvements, mining updates, new missions, and everything else the recently released Alpha 319 has to offer. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for exploring the process of game development with us, and we'll see you all here next week.
Okay, what is he referencing to?
Yeah, but in Rat
This.
Squadron, you know, the 5th book in the series, you know, they had them as an optional upgrade. And then in Avenger Squadron in the expansion pack for the game, they had them too. So, you know, what I'm saying is, can we? Please?
He's talking about X-Wing, right? Yeah, I know he's talking about, he was asking Star Wars. It sounds like X-Wing or TIE Fighter. TIE Fighter upgrades. Yeah. The Wing novels, okay. Hyperdrives, yeah. I love Rogue Squadron. By the way, I think Motive is making a Rogue Squadron game. I follow one of the writers of Rogue Squadron of Motive there, and I think I think Motive's making a Rogue Squadron game finally. They saw some TIE Fighters. Avenger Squadron is one of the add-ons for the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. They had a TIE Advance with beam additions, tractor beams, dampeners, etc. Yeah. Okay, I thought so. When he was mentioning it, I said that sounds like a lot like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter or Rogue Squadron. Let me see Wrath Squadron. Probably tractor beams. And quantum drives. That's the Fury. Yeah, I'm sad that they shelved the Rogue Squadron TV series. The optional warp ring, yeah. I mean, a lot of people have talked about that the back you might be able to add a docking port and just dock that onto something exterior. Problem thing is, this is perfect for haulers and pyro that need escorts because the escort rides with you. No fighter can fly across pyro with you. There can be at the 325A, I would assume, and I think the Vanguards, but none of the light fighters. This would be a fantastic addition to a light fighter fleet, to a hauler fleet for that. Yeah, for sure. Don't tell him the Gladiator, Pappy. I love the Gladiator. Has some of the best lore in the game. It is one of those ships that should be iconic. It should be up there with the Hornet. The problem is that the Hornet is dog shit and the Gladiator is dog shit. They both need massive improvements. In spirit, it is the closest. That is true. It is the closest thing to a Y-Wing. By the way, it looks like some sort of clamping system in the back area of the Fury has to latch to. Huh. So we could have like a mothership that you can attach to with this. Yeah, because their ship, because they were very early ship released, and it hasn't really been touched. Similar with the Hornet. No pew pews.
But you can never, ever take away my space game.
TheAstroPub just resubscribed for 8 months. Pub cheers.
Thank you so much for that 8 months of support. You were a very important pub, a very impressive pisser, very neat pedestrian. You rock. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. There we go. It can carry a swarm that can too. That can though. But the Liberator can't protect the hauler, but it could. Yeah, that's true. Q&A for the whole series said that you would eventually be able to attach fighters to cargo areas, didn't they? Yeah, through specialized cargo containers was the original idea. Yes, you are the only one that sees a pink dancing man, Aimless. Because the space drugs are kicking in. Just let it go. Just ride it. Ride it. The Fury doesn't need fuel pods. It uses space magic. Yes. Oh, I should probably turn that on so you don't, get angry at me. The influencers were talking about the Odyssey or them mounting to the whole series cargo grid. I could definitely see it in the Odyssey. There's plenty of space for that thing on the Odyssey. Like, you put like 4 of those bastards in the Odyssey. Maybe even 5. But, because that thing holds a A Vanguard? Or, yeah, Vanguard. Doesn't it hold a Vanguard? Yeah, I think it's Saber. It holds a Saber. So it's a medium ship. You can probably put 3 in there. Yeah, you're live. My day started out being late to work. I'm sorry, Lils. If the lore was actually, if Hornet was actually to its lore, it would be S tier, out DPS Scorpius, and faster than the Arrow. Not really. The Hornet's not supposed to be super fast. It's supposed to be super tanky. It's supposed to be fast enough to, and maneuverable enough, you know, just generally speaking. But its real thing where it shines is that it's a gunfighter. It will just overwhelm you with guns, which makes sense considering the size of it. The problem is that it should have armor. This is also should be, because it's slower, it should have armor, but it doesn't have that armor, so it doesn't protect it as well. It's a brawler. It gets in and punches you to death and can take, like, you can hit that thing. In design, you should be able to hit that thing over and over and over again, see pieces fly away from it, and it's just like, I didn't hear no fucking bell, and just constantly punch back. Because it's designed to fight a combination of the Xian and the Vanduul. Whereas the F8 is like the ultimate extension of that, but just like, you know, we don't have to worry about the Xian, we just have to worry about the Vanduul. Big shout out to the AstroPub for keeping me sane during work on a Friday. Glad to hear that. Hourglass and Bane. How many in the cargo hold of the BMM? It holds the BMM holds well, not the cargo hold, but the BMM does have its own fighter bay, which holds Defender, which means you could probably hold 3 in its own fighter bay. Question, do you think with EVA version 2 you could get into one of these, attach the whole cargo grid and fly off? Yeah, I think it could work. Almost certainly could work. Enjoy the show. Have a good night. Have a good night there, Tank. Thanks for listening and hanging out. I agree. It's like putting the cart before the horse. What is Nightcub saying? I don't get the armor change after the ballistic pen changes in 318. Oh, what they did? Yeah, I don't get it either. But every time I brought it up, CIG was angry at me for bringing it up. The designer in charge of it made fun of me for saying it's like them just throwing darts at the wall to see what's changed. He decided to make a joke out of it, and I'm like, you didn't fucking answer the question, though, my dude. What the fuck is this purpose? Oh, it's not for armor. It's for something else, and it's like, which is, at this point, I've just kind of been like, it's all right. I'm just gonna let it go. CIG is gonna do this thing. We just gotta understand that CIG is gonna do this thing because that's how they work. They got it done. They're throwing it in there. Why? Because fuck you. That's why. Don't question the method. It's like, okay. The Fury looks like the ship swarm from Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Probably. It should be night, but I like it. So my bad luck is won't be I won't be touched for 10 years. Yeah. It's not shield pen. It's ballistic pen. Right? Yeah. It's not about armor. It's about how good the ballistic weapons do, and then they decided to, instead of reversing their changes, increase or decrease the penetration damage. Like they basically negated it, whatever they were doing. I don't fucking know. I don't think it was a good idea to make all heavy weapons only in the loot table. I think that was a mistake too. The Fury is mid. Oh, God. Fishy. Why did you have to say the Fury is mid? What kind of brawler is the Saber? The Saber is a stealth fighter. Its job is to not be seen, show up in your radar too late, and then you just gun it down before it has something has a chance to respond to you, or you hurt it hard enough, you hit it hard enough that it can't respond as quickly. Fury with ballistics, you're gonna have to rearm. So the Inferno was so good and so much fun with a better pen. Now it's even worse than before. Man, the Ares is just getting its ass kicked over and over again. It's so, again, I play 40K. There's a term in 40K, which is, I'm sure used in other communities as well for gaming, but when a faction does really good one edition, that faction then pays for the sins of its past for several editions afterwards, where the developers over exaggerate and completely fuck over that faction because it did so well, and so they want to make people feel better about them actually trying to do something, so they overcorrect. CIG does that a lot. They overcorrect when something comes way too meta. Like the Gladius probably is never going to drop out of the meta because it is so important for CIG for Squadron 42, but the Arrow dropped out of the meta for that reason. The Talon dropped out of the meta for the same reason. Though I think the Ares is unique in that it just constantly gets its shit kicked in. It's constantly like dropping that hard. All we need is the Bebop. It's a pod ship. Jordan, you're right. It's Phase ship from Cowboy Bebop, the Red Tail. The Fury is the Su-25 of Star Citizen. I don't know the Su-25, so maybe. The Ares makes no sense in the current game. Its design, I disagree. I think you could use the Ares as its intended purpose, which is very limited, but you could still use it as an intended purpose. But you would need to change it, right? So, like, I'm trying to remember, because it's been a while since I've used the Ares. I remember it used to fire very fast, the Size 7, or the Size 7 was very, very good. So when it fired, it would just destroy people, and it had pretty high firing rate. And so people just said, hey, give it a little bit of a wind-up. So you're like a boom, boom, like a little bit of a charge for it to fire, because that would make sense. And a delay. And that would keep up with its DPS would drop a little bit, but would keep up with its damage, so people could easily maneuver it, that kind of stuff. If I remember correctly about that. I may be wrong about that. But there are ways that you can fix the Ares that CIG just chooses not to do. Any of the capital ship killers make no sense right now. They do if you're fighting capital ships. There's just not that many capital ships. Hey, Jock, working overnight, didn't know you were streaming. The Ares needs a rebalance and appropriate large targets to shoot at. That's true. Fury is a starter ship. It doesn't have a quantum drive. Wouldn't make any sense to be a starter ship. In fairness, a lot of older ships need fixing. Yeah, in fairness, every older ship needs fixing. I would say, in order of importance, and this is going to be controversial, but I think the most important ship to fix right now is the Freelancer. With things coming up, fix the interior is the big issue. Outside, it's fine. Its performance is okay, but if you fix the interior with it to make it a little bit better of a ship, because when Pyro comes in, that ship is a lot more common than any of the other ships, and it's going to be much more valuable in Pyro. After that, I'd fix the Connie. That's going to take a lot of work for the interior, mostly interior stuff. Then I would fix the Hornet, the Gladiator, the Saber. Most of that is just performance, but, you know, some other things. And then the Ares. Again, performance issues more. And then the Aurora and Mustang. And I know that sounds terrible because it's like, well, aren't the Aurora and Mustang starter ships? Aren't they more important? No, because none of their features are fully in yet. When the game, as I always like to say, people are like, but these are starter ships, and we want to make people have a good experience with the game. My response is, there's no fucking game. We don't really have a game It's for them to enjoy. Having a ship that works isn't going to help them enjoy the broken-ass buggy game. Talley's already being worked on. We know that's the case. The interior of the Talley's already being worked on. The Terrapin doesn't really need a lot of work. It just needs functionality. Reclaimer is fine. It's just not... The interior needs just kind of a small redesign, but it works for what it is. And you ain't fixing the Redeemer unless you do a full rhinoplasty on that bitch. You need to throw that design out and restart from scratch to fix the Redeemer. I said the Gladiator. The Gladiator needs love after the Hornet, because the Hornet is more valuable because it's in Squad 42. I think the Gladiator is too, but the Hornet's probably more iconic. She needs lots of love and variance. She could definitely use some variants, and I think that's almost certainly on the docket for IAE this year. It's a Redeemer. The Mantis is a Redeemer situation. The Mantis is the same reason that the Redeemer is it's irredeemable. Both of them are irredeemable because they're designed to do things. Their design is the problem, not the and their gameplay role is the problem, not the actual ships. you said freelancer first. Your Gladiator enthusiast that you created with your lore videos will now never forgive you. I'm sorry. That's the one thing I've realized is that I created a monster by talking about how cool the fucking Gladiator is, because the Gladiator is fucking cool. The lore for the Gladiator is impossibly cool. Mostly because the Black Crows are the best motherfucking squadron in the UEE. The Bravo flight specifically. Because they are so... like, I want to call them anti-heroes because they're kind of anti-heroes. Not really anti-heroes. But they're so relatable. They're like, we do everything right. We've done everything we're supposed to do. We've gone above and beyond the call of duty multiple times to save people and to win battles. And they still fucking lose it for us. Everybody else is terrible at their job. We do what we're supposed to do, and we even go beyond, and we still get blamed for all the losses. Redeemer or Perseus? Perseus. 100%. Hands down, love the Perseus. What's so bad about the Mantis other than the fact that they're neglecting its potential as a foundation for multiple variants? The problem with the Mantis is that its role is pretty much... it's built for one thing, and it's a paper crate. You know, you sneeze at a thing and it blows up. And it's not exactly engaging gameplay. It's the same reason why people dunked on the Antares hardcore, because it's like the pilot's role in the Antares. The second, the co-pilot seat in the Antares, push button. Like, that's all they do. They're like Wayne fucking Gretzky in the middle of the Timbits League game. That's the reason why the Gladiator is so cool, is because despite how bad the Gladiator is, people have managed to make it work in the lore. Because even in the lore, it's bad. Like, it's not designed to do the job it's done. They figured out how to make it work. And the people who have made it iconic, as an iconic ship, are people who've managed to take this crappy result of a scam and blow up motherfucking, like, invasion fleets with it and rescue thousands of civilians with it. Like, doing absolute nuts shit with this damn thing. And still, nobody gives them the credit. They're not Squadron 42. They're just a 214. For a time, I managed to forget the Antares exists. Thanks, Paul. No problem. I'm also going to remind you that the Rocket DS exists. You're welcome. Question: what's your take on the Miss Odyssey? I think it's always been designed or miscategorized. I think CIG has got a fantastic Wildcat mining expedition ship that they managed to nerf into the ground for some reason. Like, that thing should be able to mine and refine everything it has. It shouldn't just be a Quantanium mine refinery, because while it makes sense, it should also be able to do other things, to be able to take samples. But like, they've taken something that would be a fantastic mining expedition ship, something that goes out, you know, like those ships that go out and drill for oil in places where they think the oil exists, but it's like movable oil rigs. Those things, it's what it should be, and they turned it into a exploration ship. No, the Odyssey should have just been named the Driller. Yeah, it needs a true refinery is what it does. Don't forget Theaters of War, where, hey. Listen, I still believe the Theaters of War is on the table for this year. Survey. Thank you. Survey ship. Or call it the Surveyor. I don't think they don't call any ship the Surveyor. You've got the Prospector and the Surveyor. We're done. Come on. Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Gonzo209X just resubscribed for 60 months.
Thanks so much, Gonzo.
AstroPub for Imperator.
Fucking shit. 5 years. Holy shit. Has it been that long? Thank you so much for that 5 years of support there, Gonzo. You were a very important pupper. Very impressed, Mr. Very pedestrian. This is your fault. You're the reason why I drink at night. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. What is Theaters of War? I've heard of it a few times, but never been able to find out what it is. So, Breezy Caution, for those of you who are brand new to the verse, hey, A, welcome. B, if you're wondering what Theaters of War is, have you played Battlefield?
Gonzo209X just gifted 5 subs.
Thank you so much, Gonzo, for the gift of those 5 subs. You were all very important puppers, very impressive business, very neat pedestrians. Y'all rock. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. All right. Fury's looking Mike. MIC. There's reasons you don't know about it. We don't speak of such thing in polite company, sir. They're gonna play like so. Yeah, it's like kind of like Battlefront. It's that sort of, you know, planet-side Battlefront gameplay where you play two like groups of, I think it was like 12 on 12, where people would attack a base. Some people have to defend the base. And then once they captured the points for long enough or did an action, then they move on to the secondary line. And it started off in like FPS combat, then it went to FPS and ground vehicle combat, then it went to FPS ground vehicle and ship combat, and then the last stage was in orbit, where you'd take a ship up and you'd have to do like space battles as well as like get onto a space station and do stuff like that. It's basically that kind of experience. It was multiplayer, and that was just the demo level they had. They wanted to do that, and they mentioned it in 2019, CitizenCon 2019. Then COVID happened, and they tried to, and I think 2020 or 2021, they did release it to a select crew of testers, and the desync was fucking ass, and it was completely destroying the experience. So the team basically said, we're not going to touch it. So it's been in limbo for a long time. They've still been working on it, but it's been in limbo for a very long time. Hey, Beyond the Verse. Yeah, I didn't want to tell you they're Solus that I'm I stream the same time. The Captain Stable. Or office hours, so. Basically online Halo. There was a Halo mode which was very similar. I can't remember what it was like war or whatever, so. How was the stream there? I was talking about the Synth World. Project Archangel. Ghost Hollow? Basically jump down without drugs. Well, there's also stages, so it wasn't just jump down, but yeah. So why do you think it's on the table for this year when the desync was even worse than it was last year? Because they have a completely different... Well, because the Arena Commander team is different. And we're talking about a 24v24 on their own servers. The reason why desync is bad isn't because, for some reason, Star Citizen sucks. It's because the amount of data that the servers are trying to process is over-fucking-whelming. And they haven't been able to work out the code that they've written doesn't really work for it. So they're not really focusing on that for the PU, but the code that was written should still be able to work with a lot of the improvements that have existed for Star Citizen. And with the dedicated team for the Arena Commander team, they're going to be doing something big. They have a huge announcement they said they're going to do. And my guess is that they're going to create Theaters of War or create a new thing based off the Theaters of War idea. And by that is, I think they're going to start merging a lot of these ideas from space. I won't say Space Marine, that's wrong. Star Marine and Arena Commander into modes that were kind of combined of the two. And the Synth World effort, nice. Like a 25 feet, 25 or 50 feet, 50 ground and air. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, question. What is the major blockers for the Liberator? The same reason why there's major blockers for the X1. Pretty much. That's all it is. It's just a brick with landing pads and engines, which isn't too difficult, but you have to actually build it out, which requires people an hour and time to do it, and you don't really need it right now, so it's just not a priority. And there are other things they need before that, so. That's pretty much the problem. Like, a lot of... Well, I remember going on Spectrum, because I'm stupid, and I do this every so often, and I remember someone being like, there's so many ships that are not made, and I looked at it, and I'm like, like 4 or 5 of those ships are in the game, or about to be in the game. Like, at least 3 of these different ships are actually, like, those 2 ships are the same ships, those 2 ships are the same ships, that ship is the same ship as that. These are all ground vehicles. Like... Taking a look at the what's left, that's to come into the game, 90% of them are either there's no gameplay for them, or there's no gameplay for them and they're the same ship. Like the whole D and the whole C and the whole E, they're the same ships but just scaled differently. One of the image they used had both the privateer and the original Kraken. I'm like, that's literally just the same ship, my man. It's like. Another things we need before that, checks notes, another small combat ship with and more ground vehicles. They work. And for some reason, CIG doesn't give a fuck if they've already pledged to make a ground vehicle. They're bored with the X1 does not entice them. It does not excite them. It doesn't tickle them in the scrumulum enough. So they're Andy in Toy Story 2, or in Toy Story. I don't want to play with you anymore. And, they'll just pick up the new hotness. That's the other thing, is that small ships are faster to do. Like, there's no reason to... Like, let's look at the BMM. The BMM has no point in game. It's a selling ship without any selling mechanics. It's nice. Let's look at the Perseus. It's a combat ship. It's the size of a hammerhead. It's cool. You could definitely get it in the game now. But why? Just because you can? It does have one feature that's not in there, which is automated turrets. I guess the only thing that really isn't there. It's also big, so it takes a lot of resources, a lot of people to make it. And instead of doing one big ship that takes them 6 to 12 months or 18 months to get done, they could get 3 small ships in that time. No, I don't mean the X1. I mean they keep giving us starters and the Fury and more pointless ground vehicles instead of anything multi-crew, because they don't have any multi-crew gameplay. Like, there's really no point in doing multi-crew gameplay until they have multi-crew gameplay. Don't care. I still want to fly the BMM. I get it. Yeah, and Tree's right. We have the heart. Liberator needed. I'm still upset because there are a lot of ships that they could get done and ground vehicles that could get done pretty quickly that they don't. And it just seems like it's because they don't give a fuck. Just to be honest. Which is why, like, I'm going to be very clear, and I'm trying not to be salty here, which is do not buy concept ships. Especially concept ground vehicles or small vehicles. Because the chances of you getting a small concept ship or ground vehicle within a year of it being released is almost zero. Like, there's just no point in buying. Like the next Tumbrel vehicle, don't buy it. It won't come out for 4 years. It doesn't matter. It could that 4 CIG employees could with enough Red Bull could get that thing done in 2 weeks. Don't buy it. It ain't coming out until 2027. So fuck it, because it's just not a priority. Yeah, trust me. I like my Akira bike. I fucking love the Ranger. But it ain't coming out in soon because they got to get wheeled vehicles entirely reworked. I don't care. I want my iPhone 4. Yeah. Most concept ships don't buy. It's almost a miracle the Spirit's coming so soon. Yeah. Questions. What are your predictions for 320 as far as things on the roadmap? Do you want hopium or do you want reality? Because I can give you some hopium and I can give you some reality. I don't know if they're working on the ground vehicle experience. Montreal's opened a vehicle team. That's the big one. Yeah, they're also working on unannounced vehicles, yeah. I mean, hey, you'll get a small concept ship sooner than you'll get your capital concept ship. That's true, but, like, we're not going to get the, well, what is it? The Legionnaires not coming out anytime soon. Let's see what else is there that's kind of small. G12, yeah. The Expanse, yeah. You're not getting the Expanse anytime soon. The Spirit's not a small ship, though. The Spirit's a medium ship. Now that we have Montreal vehicle team, we'll probably have a Death Star within 30 days. All right, so I'll give you the 320 predictions. Right now, for Hopium, I'll start with Hopium, then kill you back to reality. Bounty Hunter V2, Hole Munching, complete overhaul of the economy with Quanta, so some sort of version 1 of the quantum economy. More the mining. I think did I confirm the mining stuff in there? The mining missions. If they didn't, the mining missions. Obviously the whole sea. But that's also going to include ship tractor beams, the complete rework of space station cargo decks, manual loading and unloading. That's about my hopium levels. The reality, I think we're almost certainly going to get manual unloading and loading. We'll get some changes similar to what we get with mining with commodities. We'll get probably the backpack-based or like the gun-based tractor beam plus the gun-based salvage beam. It's like the rifle salvage and the rifle tractor. Let's see. The whole sea, obviously. And then we'll get some missions, and then maybe, yeah, no, and tractor beams, and that's it. That's all we're gonna get. Yeah, freight elevators. Yeah, that's part of that whole thing, though. Unannounced means it hasn't been talked about, which means it's new. It could mean that they are working on a variant. That's true. That's one of the few exceptions. They could be working on something that's a variant. That's usually an unannounced, but they usually call it an unannounced variant in the monthly report. I don't think they ever announced the Tumble Storm. It was just through leaks. Hey, J. Calvin.
You can take away my spaceship.
Ship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No abuse.
But you can
ever
take away my space game.
J_Culvain just resubscribed for 56 months. Here, have this.
Thanks for that 56 months of support. You're a very important bumper. Very impressive, Mr. Very good pedestrian. This your fault. You're researcher. Good night. Shots and chips. Shots and chips. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Too bad we'll only get 1/3 of it. What won't we get, Andrew? That's always the question I have. I get you're being a salty pill, which is okay. But what won't we get out of that list?
Drugs.
Do you think we're only get 1/3 of that? Because what we know, what we're going to get, the CIG is to be fair to CIG, to give them the credit, some credit. They're very wrong. They're very rarely wrong when it comes to the release view of the roadmap. They haven't. They've only done it, I think, once. Has something slipped off the release view since it's been added 2 years ago. So they're usually pretty spot on with their release view guesses. I don't think Bounty Hunter version 2 is coming in 320. That's my hopium. We'll lose ship tractor beams because they're internally delayed. Then how are we going to load and unload the whole sea? The SRV is done. It's been done for a month. Those BH, you know, BH? What's BH? Ship tractor beams have been working in game for months. Now, bounty hunting. Yeah. It's bounty hunting is going to be more of a. So you know how today you kind of go out and find a bounty. You go to a location where the bounty is going to be. They spawn in. You shoot them. You cash your check and you go home. Well, yeah, that's not going to how bounty hunting is going to work soon. Yeah, if it's committed, it's usually like a 60 to 70%. If they put it into the tentative, though. The tentative is rarely slips as well.
You can take away my spaceship.
Also, there's nothing on the release view but the whole sea. That's pretty big.
You can even take away my space lasers, but you can never,
ever. Also, there's new mission consignments and the ship trespass. Is that what I think it is? Oh, no, it's not. What was that? Huh. I don't know what that was. Thank you. Whoever that was. Maybe a little delayed on my end. I'll be right back, chat. Yeah, you can't, like, the whole sea requires cargo decks, it requires tractor beams, it requires so many different things to happen. So...
Weapons free, y'all.
I'm fly. I'm pilot.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Drugs.
2 words. Distress bacon. 2 words. Distress bacon.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
I'm fly. I'm pilot.
Weapons free, y'all.
Everyone.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy. Cajitas wares. Easy. You have coin.
No more fun, chat. No more fun. They couldn't spend time reworking any of the research or investigation missions or mission types. BH is okay already. They are doing that. They're doing both. I went past them the whole season. Here you go. You can run scrap between stations, Oris and State. I don't think they would, but they could. They could, but I think CIG would rather pull the whole sea from this roadmap if that was the case, because CIG definitely seemed like, based off of the monthly reports, the progress trackers, which let's do that real quick. I'm not gonna do a capsule for this, but let's pull up the progress tracker. My DPS just suddenly went way down. Okay. So roadmap roundup. We've got the vehicle content team from Montreal. For those of you who don't know, we were talking about this earlier. There is a new vehicle content team for Montreal, comprised of artists and designers, and they'll be working bringing new vehicles. Additionally, our next publish, we're starting to add Q4 2023 schedule with its deliverables for upstream teams. So this is the stuff that the upstream team is going to be finishing in Q4. So anything the upstream team does in Q4 is designed for Q1 of next year. That's the earliest you'd see the downstream teams working on it, which means the earliest we'd get it is March of next year. And they added the links, remaining is committed. All right. So with that being said, we're going to do this because This is a fantastic thing. Shiny Hobo did a fantastic job. If you go to the progress tracker, or the Shiny tracker at Health, it's they've done a great work. They do a timeline here where you can look up any single schedule thing. I even asked Shiny Hobo to help me out with this. You can set it just for Squadron 42 for both and in progress. So this is only deliverables which are in progress. Green represents full-time work. Yellow indicates part-time work. Indicates sample date, which is right here, and indicates today. So this is how far long ago this has changed. You can even change it to back work as well, so you can see how it's working before. Yeah, this shows the actual sprints. Like, that's what this shows you right here. So if we're looking at in progress, this is the latest the sprint has. So, like, this is the Santok Yai, the asteroid facilities, which is Squadron 42, I think. Or Star Citizen. I think it's both, but yeah. Bounty Hunter. Here we go. Bounty Hunter V2. It's on the roadmap. It's got a sprint for August to 1st to the 14th. So it's like sometime in August 2014. But it's also got other people. That's the USPU art team. The EU LZ team has been working on this stuff as well. Narrative is working on it. The MFT engineering, multifunction display, I think, or I don't know what the MFT stands for. So, like, that's an example right there of Bounty Hunter V2, and kind of these are sprints. They don't tell you when it's ending, but they're still working on it in August. So it could come out, because I think 320 is coming out in October. That could be something to get in there. Squadron 42, they haven't really updated much for Squadron 42. Chapter 14 is still getting some work in, but they haven't really. That's one that they kind of do week to week, month to month sort of thing. It's much more close to the chest. Chapter 27's gotten fucking nothing. 28. That's the end of the the end of the game, though. Has gotten almost nothing. Everything else is much more higher in regard. Character work, Chemline, which is a facility in the Odin system. Crusader Spirit. There's the cutting T2. So let's look up the cargo elevators. Freight elevators. Here we go. So it looks like we're seeing the EUPU team working up until the September 11th, so around September, and the art team's working in July, and then September's got that as well. And then Persistent Hangars is similar, working up until September. So, and currently the USPU team has some 9 tasks, and so on and so forth. So. What's the difference between the roadmap and the hobos and hobos list? The progress tracker, not the roadmap. Shiny hobos list. They're the same thing. The difference is that shiny tracker, like in this case, we're seeing the same thing that we would see under the roadmap route. Let's go to here's the release here. Here's go to progress tracker. Let's look up cargo again. Deliverables. So this one shows everything in cargoes. I clicked in progress, so this is the only things that are being worked on. So now we can filter what's actually being worked on and not finished. This shows you everything. Let's look up the freight elevators, right? I can't spell freight. F-R-E-I. Okay, freight elevators. Notice that we have the ESPU team working on 51 weeks, going until September. Then we see EULZ team, SST team, audio team. So we just kind of see this aspect right here, which is in this weird kind of checkered board format. So it's kind of harder to read. That's what this is. USPU art and USB engineering. This is just showing you right here. Is just showing you USPU. That's all it is. So it's breaking down a little bit more about what each sprint looks like. So you have a better idea of what's actually going on. This is like their schedule. Like this is the kind of like their work schedule. So. Yeah, we definitely need to fix that kind of stuff. Mission features team is Elliot's team. Yes. Oh, MFT's mission features team. Ah, okay. That makes sense. So let's do, that's bounty. So MFT, mission features team design and engineering, with the USPU art team doing some other stuff. So they're definitely working on some stuff right here. We can see how far back it went back. So January of 2022 is when it started with the art team. We've actually seen some visual updates for this as well in one of the last ISCs. So Shiny Hobo does some fantastic work. You all should be using the shinytracker.app because this helps out a lot. This helps you kind of visualize it better. And then scheduled delivery. Here we go. So this is the Delta tracker. So often people will complain that, here we go, roadmap roundup. This is all we got. People go, this is fucking nothing. This doesn't tell me shit. And it doesn't. Because it's telling you what's added and removed and giving you some updates. It's not telling you any of the changes that happened, because to do so would drive Jake through the fucking roof. Because Jake's job, their job is much more complex than just this. They've got a lot of other things that they have to do. And this is just one aspect of it. They are one person. That's their only job to do. There's one person, not a job. They're just one person, and they're the only ones who are working on that. So. Are the servers still down? I believe so. Unresolved. Degraded performance. They've re-enabled it though, so it should be working a little bit better. Hey, there's Shiny. We were just like glumping lots of praise on you there, Shiny. But with like the Delta tracker is a great thing, because this one we can see all of the things that have changed from the last update. It's not much. It's only 7 teams. The actor status team, 2 engineering devs work on 8 tasks through it seems like more than 7 stuff. Let's see if I hit the wrong button here. Let's schedule deliverables. Delta tracker, here we go. Zero deliverables updated from last one. So we've got literally 0. Oh no, two deliverables were added. Unannounced returning and unannounced vehicle. So the vehicle content team began work with Montreal. So Montreal got an unannounced vehicle, and then there was a returning vehicle that now is being put on Montreal. So Montreal is now currently working on 2 unannounced vehicles. So that's really what the big changes was. But everything else has been unchanged. Christ, and shit backlog. Is returning a backlog vehicle? So there was a vehicle that was unannounced that was removed from the progress tracker, and then it was brought back into the progress tracker. So they had removed it, which could have been a bug, because there's a lot of bugs like that happen sometimes. Because again, Jake is but one human. And Jake has to steal developer time from other developers to help function this, so. It used to be a duplicate, recycled ID. So it was a bug. Different ship. So this was a different ship that was removed and a different one's coming in? Or are these both duplicates? Because they look like they're two different things, right? What do they say when they mean backlog ship? It means that it's a ship that was announced and sold, but hasn't been worked on yet or hasn't been made yet. Jake doesn't have the money to hire people. Otherwise, they would. The one that was removed was a duplicate of an existing ship. They reused the ID. Okay, so they reused the ID. So this is a new ship. Even though it says it's returning, it's actually a completely different ship. Okay. The CIG doesn't call them backlogs. We call them backlogs. Blame Jake. What words do they say when they're saying they're working on an old ship? They're working on a ship. They'll announce what ship they're working on. I don't think they usually say a backlog. I think they usually say just ships that are, starting to work on X ship. They may use the term backlog. I don't remember them ever saying backlog, though. Because that's something that the community uses that stuff. Yeah, they usually just talk about the specific ship or vehicle. A lot of stuff that CIG talks about often is picked up from the community, but they don't usually use that internally. Do they actually specify? They'll specify what ship, yes. If it's an unannounced ship like this, no, they won't specify it. They just will say, and even in the monthly reports, like let's pull up the latest monthly report. Monthly report, right? We'll go down to the ships section. Art ships. Another new ship passed the white box stage. This is nearing completion. New things. Vehicle content team, all new vehicle. All LOD pass for the Argo SRV, the Lynx Rover. Component pass on the Misk Freelancer. US Gray Box team upcoming vehicle was completed. Gray Box and Apollo Centaur Yai. See, like if they're talking about a ship, they'll talk about the ship. If they're talking about something, they'll say a new vehicle or new ship. I believe the Lynx is a separate one. I have to double check. Yes, it's still its own announcement on the progress tracker. It's still set for release in 319. I don't think you could pay Shiny Hobo enough money to do the job that they're doing for themselves. That is for fun. It's completely different to do something for fun versus doing something for like as a job. I know PM. I work in tech and I have done tech PM. Okay. It seems like they've worked on the unannounced in the dev tracker, but then it suddenly was the Lynx. It may have been at one point, but the thing is, the Lynx was never a sold ship. So like the Lynx was an unannounced vehicle because it was never actually sold separately. It's supposed to come with the Phoenix, but CIG seems to not. If they haven't announced it as a sellable ship, they tend to put it in an unannounced category. Your timeline view for this? Okay. Shiny tracker. Let's see the timeline view. Yes, yeah, that would actually help. Let's pull up the deliverable search. The first time it shows up is in July of 2022. Now, let's see if I can figure out how to get the dates. Oh, right here. Let's go back to, say, 3 months ago. So let's go back to February. Lynx is on the roadmap for February. Let's see, let's go back to October. It's still there. It wouldn't. The name wouldn't change, right? Shiny, if it was a different name before that. Yes, you're talking dev tracker. This is the shiny tracker. This is the progress tracker, which is the development tracker versus the stuff. So this is a fan made version. This is Shiny Hobo's like third party system, which tracks things like the delta changes, which changes update to update, and other things like that. And this is CIG's internal tool. Shiny Hobo's bot scrapes this, compares it to the previous updates, and then makes the changes based off of those IDs and such. So, like, this could be this, is what I'm trying to say. This is a lot more readable than this. And this gives a lot more context than this does. Which is why it's a great tool, but it's done by a fan. So I think the Delta report specifically really does help give perspective. Like, for instance, this was the tracker, the Delta report the 2 weeks ago. It was 44 deliveries updated. So yeah, it was pretty good. And then this one today, or like this Wednesday, had 2. But they were added, but nothing else changed. Probably because they're doing the upstream changes for Q4 next update, which will happen in June? No, May 31st. So. You've only been playing since March? Wow, you are new. Welcome. I swear the link's progress was showing up unannounced as of like March. It might have, based off of the scheduled work timeline for the links, though. Back in March. Let's go back to February. It was still saying that I think the links got committed. Let me look it up. It was first displayed in March. March 30th, the end of March, was when they first actually showed the interior and exterior of the links. But I believe it was announced to be worked on before then. I'm sure. I'm caffeinated. I'm caffeine fiend is probably older than I am. Yeah, this is what it looks like. It's an Ursa, but fancy. You're the same age as me, then. We're the same age. You have more experience in this than I do, though, for sure. Sure, I'll link you to it. The Shiny Tracker. It's called Shiny App right here. I'll link it everything. Same age buddies. Yeah, yay, same trauma. We both survived. We both survived 2008. June 22nd was added last year. Okay, so when it says June 22nd of last year, like this was, or July 2022. It's like this is actually legitimate. Like that's when it first shows up. So it's not there on June 8th. And then on June 22nd, it shows up. Yeah. That's where it first shows up. It disappears June 8th. We both survived 2008. Immediately takes a big drink. Yeah. Yeah. You can't get the... Yeah, and that's the point. It's like... Shiny Hobo does... Hey, thank you so much for that subscription. I don't know why it's not showing up on my stream. Because it's probably not... I probably don't have the... Well, it should be there. The historical... Let's go with May 25th. It doesn't want to go back in time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely use it. If you're ever concerned about anything in the game, I would first check if it's in the deliverables here, because this will at least tell you if it exists or not. And then if you're like, okay, now I want to know more, boom, Shiny Tracker. So, fantastic tool. You don't have a database backend? Some queries break its ability to load at the moment. They just they seem to be random. FLAC? Sure, you want me... I'll look up the FLAC, because the FLAC's actually been recently added as well. Okay, so we'll go FLAC. Black ammunition was back on there, and then it was also here. Yeah, because it was actually recently added back on there. The weapons feature team was working on it. It was back in November of 2022, December 2022, 23. Then it was part-time back in narrative design back in July of 2022. That's where it first shows up. It's bounced off back on and up there, so. Yeah, that's what Tree was talking about. I think a lot of people were pointing out was like, everyone's like, oh, the Fury is going to be so overpowered. I'm like, it'll overpower guns. It's like laughs in Flocken. What's the German word? Flockenwagen? Laughs in anti-aircraft flak. The tech I used to get it work done really interesting from an engineering standpoint. I don't know the details on that one, but it's fantastic you're able to get it work. Is it just some newer stuff or some ideas? Flakpanzer, yes. Tracker looks like it belongs on Terminal and Grimhex, and just like Grimhex, it's a representative of the hard working people of the verse. None of this fancy dancy Mobic glass bullshit. It just gets the information you need. God damn it. The lack of a backend while allowing you to access the database is really hard. Oh, so it doesn't even have a backend. You said that earlier, yeah. So it doesn't have a backend database. You're just pulling information from the database that CIG has. Flak isn't, it's not just Flak. It's also, what is the other one? Is it... The armor piercing, maybe? No. Incendiary rounds? I think it's incendiary. Yeah, I guess it might just be Flak. Question, say Paul, how do you think there are chances of a walker like an AT-AT? Not a mech, but a walker for transporter combat? 2 seconds. 2 seconds. mean like this?
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Very high. Very high.
Mason Cordian just resubscribed for 25 months.
Thanks so much there, Mason, Cold Iron, for that 25 months of support. You're a very important popper, very impressive pisser, very good pedestrian. This, you rock. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Origami dude. All right, I'm gonna read the paragraph, and I pulled out a couple things here and there, and I'm like, I want to know how people are. I want to know how people are feeling about this game in general. I got the game with 3 other friends, and 2 of them are about to try to refund the game because they feel like the amount of bugs are inexcusable for a game that had an initial budget of over $500 million. So I'm gonna stop for you right there. The game does not have an initial budget of $500 million. The game had an initial budget of like $2 million when it first finished, or something like that. It's made over $500 million over the course of 10 years. So already you're misinformed. So keep that in context. I did not get the same bugs, but I do feel like I get a lot of them, and it's an alpha game, can only go so far when the game's over 10 years old, but it's still an alpha. So a couple of kind of things to redirect. Number one, if they want to get a refund, get a refund. Like, this game's not in a position for a lot of people, so do it. Like, CIG does multiple free flights every year, and they're fantastic for people who are like, hey, man, this game's buggy, I don't know if I want it. The game will get better over time and has gotten better over time. Number two, you have to remember that this game hasn't had a consistent development for 10 years. 10 years ago, it was like 20 people in a basement. Like, they didn't even have much of anything. They've had to rewrite the engine. There's a bunch of other things like that. And they've gone from a team of like 20 people to over 1,000 over the course of 10 years. So things have changed, and there are bugs, and it's going to cause problems. And even worse, it's going to take longer. This game is nowhere near out. We're probably not going to see beta for at least 3 years, if not longer than that. And then the game was probably still 5 years away from being fully released. But I wouldn't think of this game as a game to play hardcore. People do. I don't know fucking why, but they do. It's a game at this point that you back because you can get a nice discount if you like the idea. But if you're trying to play this game like a game, no, it's a bad idea. 20 people and a lamp. Don't forget the lamp, yeah. I never would suggest people picking up this game at this point. Play for free. They do it every so often, and like this week, they have full like rentals. You can rent everything. So if your friends are still within, I think, the 2-week period, they can get a refund. I think they can still probably do it afterwards if they request it. There's no shame on that one. But yeah, they just play for free starting tomorrow. Love Lab. Does everybody come back and help some people sometimes? Yeah. Personally, I'm having a lot of fun with it, but the bugs are getting a little annoying. They're going to get worse. They're going to get worse before they get better. But if your friends are seriously having issues with it, tell them, hey, get a refund, come back. Try for free if they want to, and no shame on that. Like, there's a reason why CIG has a 2-week refund policy. So, it's pretty good. Those are very early days for this update. In a couple of weeks and several fixes later, it'll be somewhat better, but not perfect. Yeah, and then they'll release an update and break everything. Like it's like the next big hurdle, which is the next star system they're adding, Pyro, which could come at the end of this year or come sometime next year or come fucking when the heat death of the universe happens. We don't know. At least they seem to be planning on getting it out this year, which probably won't happen. But when that happens, when it actually does come out, it's going to break everything again. So you're going to have even more worse bugs. Do I think the rumored Star Wars MMO from ZeniMax Online, Bethesda, ESO Studio, could become a threat to Star Citizen anyway? No. I hate to say this, but TSO doesn't exactly have the biggest reputation, the best reputation for being, you know, and I don't think they're going to do the Galaxies model. I think they'll do the model that the Old Republic was. I doubt it. No, nothing will threaten Star Citizen. No one's crazy enough to do what Star Citizen's doing. Yeah, they won't have space combat. If they do, it'll be a cutscene in between, or it'll be on rails like Galaxies will. I doubt that they're going to do a sandbox model for Star Citizen for Star Wars, because that doesn't make them money. They're going to want to have microtransactions and other things like that. So it just won't be the same kind of thing. A little annoying. You have the patience of a saint. I'm glad you enjoy it, but yeah, first wave backer, and I dabble with it every once in a while. Blue Moon. I almost pulled my hair out once it crashed the servers wraps recently. Yeah. Is it Ubisoft that's doing the Star Wars? I don't know who it is, honestly. He just can't even get past the tutorial because the game keeps crashing when he gets to the space station, or he lags so bad he literally crashes the tutorial ship. Oh, so like 319. He just got 319. That does sound like a... do you have the same issues? Because if you're not having the same issues with like that, then it could be that they installed it on a hard drive rather than a SSD. Because that sounds like a hard drive issues. Like that may actually be a computer issue, because Star Citizens is famously bad for computers. So generally speaking, the best things to point at for performance is a good CPU, high RAM but like fast RAM, an SSD, that's a requirement, is an SSD, and am I blinking on something? Not the graphics card doesn't matter that much. I think that's about it. Yeah, those three things are probably the most important things to run Star Citizen well. It's famously unoptimized. Yeah, you run at 70 FPS and barely have large spikes. That might be an issue, computer issue. See if he's got space. See if it's. Ask him if it's like. And again, no shame getting a refund if they get a refund, because they're not having a good time. They have a 2-week refund policy. But there's also a help desk that works on Spectrum. So like on the website, I usually don't send people to Spectrum too much, but you go to the chat under Spectrum, which is kind of like their community site. There's an unofficial help desk, which they may be able to help them if they've seen some stuff. And I've seen multiple people come in recently say, "Hey, I've got shitty, like, why does the game lag so much?" I'm like, "It doesn't lag for me. What's going on?" And they're like, "I don't know." So. The 3018 is temporary. Let me show y'all. This is the latest updates. So it's live services disruption unresolved. So they're still trying to figure out what's going on, but it's working. So there's some issues that are not working very well. This happened right when I started streaming. So. Is it 1 month right now? Perfect. Not just a help desk, but a help desk in English and DE. Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought the Ubisoft one was like a looter shooter. You just got in 10 minutes ago? Yeah, it's intermittent, meaning some people will have issues and some people might not right now. Like Division with Star Wars, yeah. Hopefully that helps you there, Origami. I know he's on an older hardware. That may be the issue. Look up the, here, let me show you the... Is Robert Says Industries slash... Oh, gosh, what is it? Show them this link. Where are you? Community. No. Development. Telemetry, there we go. I'll put this in chat. Performance matrix, yeah. So there's an entire section where you can input your settings. If you give the game your specs, or if you log into the game, it'll actually tell you what your specs are, and they'll tell you what other people are with similar loads. It'll tell you all the different performance based off of the different hardware configurations that people have. The telemetry, yeah. Yeah, I had 32 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM on an old 450 CPU, 26 gigabytes SSD, and GTX 970. And I was surprisingly well back around 3.1 or so. Upgraded to a 11700 with 32 gigabytes of 3200 MF DDR4, 2 times 1 terabyte M2, and RTX 370, and the GPU rarely goes above up to 50% with this game. I'm running out of lore, Paul. Need more videos. I'm working, Alpha. I'm working. Holy fuck. How have you gotten through 175 videos, Alpha? I think it's like 120 for Star Citizen, but... I think it's using an i7 6700K. That's exactly what I had before I upgraded. It is not good. He needs to upgrade the CPU if he wants to run it. It's not terrible, but that's definitely that's the bottleneck right there. I couldn't get barely above 30 FPS and had many hitching issues. And then I upgraded to the i7 7000K. But don't do it for Star Citizen. If he wants to just upgrade his rig for gaming in general, great, but don't do it for Star Citizen. So what I would do, Origami, is if he wants to refund, he can refund and then buy the game again when his new PC comes out, or try a new free flight when it comes out. Because that sounds like what you're telling me. From what you're telling me, it sounds like it's an issue. They watch them as they come out. I've got Astro Historian done, and I have like This Week in Star Citizen videos. Yeah, the full game. Free Flight is absolutely everything in the game for free. Just like a normal account you normally buy, and every day you get to rent new ships. And that starts tomorrow. Well, yeah, in about 12 hours from now. Servers are intermittent, caveman. Recommending this game is like trying to introduce someone to a good anime. It's like 95% caveats. Usually when I see someone come in the chat and go, is this game worth it? My first answer is no. If you ask me if this question is, if you just asked me that question, no. The answer is no. This is not a game, really. It's still a development process. It does have game elements, and I think by the time 4.0 comes around, it'll be a little bit better. I was on the fence. I was like at the edge of suggesting that this is a game fairly recently, and then they just hitting us with this performance issues, and it's like, like. Yeah, it's going to be free flight for the next week and a half, like 2 weeks. It's going to be from the 19th to May 30th. So plenty of time. And they can figure it out if they're buying a new rig soon, that'd be a good time to do it. But yeah, it's almost certainly their rig. Both my partners are like, wow, you're really into that game. Is it good? Should we try it? And I'm like, oh God, no. No, it's bad. Even after the Cortex is in, it's going to be a buggy mess. But as Buster the Destroyer likes to say, she always likes to say, these you're going to look back as these as the bad old days. If it requires a specific type of person, somebody who's willing to look at it and be like, somebody who plays like early access games and just like, nah. I will say this, whenever I go into a game and I see people like, this game is barely playable, I'm like, it's not as bad as Star Citizen. I can play this game. This is fine. Barely experience any bugs. I'm completely broken by Star Citizen. Like my standards are so fucking low when it comes to video games that I have to remind myself often. It's like, oh yeah, it's a release game. It's probably a bad idea. I've never loved and been frustrated at the game at the same time. The best way I like to say it is, sometimes you play Star Citizen and sometimes Star Citizen plays you. You got to recognize when that's happening and be like, I'm done. I'm done for today. Star Citizen just wants to fuck me over today. The only person who does not see much of a resemblance between the Fuhrer and the TIE Fighter. No, I don't see it either. I don't. It's more of like a pod design, but just because it's got a pod design doesn't mean, like, because it's got the kind of rounded dome doesn't mean it's TIE Fighter, but only Sigmas can play Star Citizen. Average full release 2023 standards game versus Star Citizen early access buggy message or chat. I have very release topics. See, that's the problem, is that like I'm way too forgiving for those games, and I know I am, because I play a ton of early access games. Like the Starship Troopers game that just came out, I'm gonna go play it on Wednesday with a couple of friends, a couple of people. You can come join us as well. I'm gonna be playing with Logan Plays. We do on Wednesdays. I do other games, so I usually play multiplayer co-op games with Logan Plays. Call it Pub and Plays Wednesdays. That game got desync. It's got problems. It's early access, but it's $25, and it's made by the same people who made Squad. So it's like, I think it's made by the people who made the Squad mod, the Starship Troopers mod for Squad, but he's gotten his STE experience. Okay, good. I haven't done it yet, but yeah, it's an overgunned red tail. Yeah, it looks like the capsule ships from Bebop. He loves it. Yeah, they both have bugs and they're buggy. Silica and Starship Troopers. Both of those, I look at those and I'm like, yeah, it's great. Those are the kind of games I play. I play RimWorld. That's a release now. Kerbal Space Program 2, that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of games I play when I'm not playing Star Citizen. So even my fun games are all early access broken games. Yes, I actually own Kenshi. Kenshi's a good example of a sandbox game. That's a good example of a modern sandbox game, but no one plays Kenshi anymore. Oh, Francisco. When you mentioned DayZ's Alpha, I am. That's what actually got me into computer games because I was a console gamer and I had stopped playing PC games back in the late 90s. So I've been playing consoles up until like 2010, 2011. And the game that got me to come back to the PC was DayZ. I had Arma 2, and I hadn't gotten the expansion set for it, so I went and bought the expansion set because I'd heard about this game, DayZ, and I started playing with one of the very first people playing DayZ Alpha, or DayZ the mod. And when the alpha came out, I played it to hell and back. I loved it. I mean, it was awful, but I loved it. You learn to deal with those things. Kenshi. Arma devs still making games? Arma was something. Yeah, Arma is, they're working on their next version of Arma, in fact. Arma 4? It's a new engine that they're building for it. Well, it's the DayZ engine, but they're improving it. Just going through buildings, one-shot kitting you, terrible loot spawns. Arm 4? Oh, that'd be great. The thing about Arma that you have to understand is that Arma the game isn't fun. Very few people play Arma the game. What you play is the Arma... It's kind of like... The mods for Arma are what people play Arma for. Like, there are full conversion mods for 40K. Full conversion mods for Star Wars. For other video games. I've seen Resistance Fall of Man full conversion mods for them. Hell, I've seen like Warhammer, like the fantasy tabletop conversion mods. Terminator conversion mods. It's like Source Engine. It's like how Half-Life and Source Engine and all these other kind of mods came out on there. It's like that, but if you took Milsim and then just wanted to throw anything you wanted at it. The thing about Arma that's really important to understand is that, and this is the thing that I like to bring up a lot with Star Citizen, is that Arma and Star Citizen have a lot in common because they're built off of the same foundational idea that planning is important. So, while the difference is that Star Citizen won't require planning a ton compared to Arma, it'll only really matter with larger groups, they still kind of base off the same idea. It's like Garrys Mod, yeah. And Garrys Mod, which I think is based off of Source Engine, but yeah, very similar. Yeah, because Garrys Mod has its own, I'm remembering Garrys Mod's, like, how literally every game in existence comes from Garrys Mod. Trouble in Terrorist Town, which was the origin for Among Us, and slasher game modes, which is the source of all of the modern horror games that came out. No, Garrys Mod's right. I'm just remembering. I was trying to remember. That's what I was trying to think of when it came to like all of the mods. Prop Hunt, yeah. Ooh. Can I watch that fist? Can I watch that live? Ooh, cool. I'm gonna watch that real quick. We're gonna show this off real quickly, and then I think I'm gonna call it a night. This is the crew trailer. So Fist is a is New Soul, who does a lot of the. So if you've watched my lore videos, my recent lore videos for the complete history of Star Citizen universe, Fist does and New Soul does a lot of the audio work for that. They do all the music and stuff. and they had me do something for them. This is, I guess, called The Crew. It's a trailer. Let me pull this down.
From their home, they research.
Yes, Truka. Hey, Truka.
Relax. Prepare for combat in extreme situations. Gracefulness.
Just a little confused about the dragon myself.
They are fearless, bold, scientific.
No problem, Nusol.
Courage. Overcoming impossible odds in the face of the unknown.
They prepare, train, and answer to the Verse's profound calls. They signify adventure, exploration, and discovery with a wealth of knowledge. When it comes to answering the call, they each have their own set of skills and abilities.
Furthermore, they are star citizens, so get to know the crew.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty good. Definitely some rough models there, but it was really nice. I like the, of course, the music is great. This all was fantastic, but. So what is the crew? It's, I think, a group of ladies who I recognized. Maiden Ariana, Citizen Her, Miss Hearts, Boss Lady, Authy, Kitty 8 Cupcake, Mighty Heidi, and Buster. I don't know if it's a Machinima series or if it's just a series of videos. I do know that New Soul asked me to be a part of it. I read some audio for Pyro, so you might hear my audio at some point talking about the history of Pyro. Can you tell us anything else about this New Soul? Fist? All right. Just watching. This is a trailer for The Crew, I guess, which is a video series for a bunch of folks there. So, the crew of women from Star Citizen that are doing travel and facing dangers and adventures. So it's kind of a machinima, kind of like a machinima video series. So, this is a trailer for that. And all of those. The people who are in there are all women of Star Citizen who do content creation. Citizen Her does a lot of, has been here before. I think they do some work on TikTok. Boss Lady, I don't know, and Kitty 8 Cupcakes, but I do know Authy, I know Miss Hearts, I know Maiden Ariana, I know Mighty Heidi, and Buster. So. What's the carrot doing? All right, so yeah, I'm gonna be signing off. I'll be back tomorrow. I should be. My goal is to get out what's in the patch, the next episode of what's in the patch tomorrow, but we'll see. If so, I'll probably end up streaming later, so like 9 p.m. or something like that. And then Saturday, I'll be doing a what am I blanking on it? Saturday will be a lore video, I hope. I may have to put that off as well because I'm getting super busy because it's the end of the year and I'm not getting home until like 6 p.m. for a lot of times. And then I have to go stream and stuff. So I either have to like drop streaming or have to do videos or whatever. That'll change starting next week, but you know, up to then. Yeah. But we'll definitely do lore tour starting tomorrow. I might not stream tomorrow because of that, but we'll see. And then Saturday we've got Captain Staple. We're going to have there we go. The Red Monster SC and Expat Brat. So Expat Brat and the Red Monster SC will be on to talk about Invictus, the ships, and the event and all that kind of stuff. Sunday, we're going to be doing a lore tour, and then I'm going to gather whoever wants to come with us, and we're going to go look for artifacts and see if they're fixed. I doubt they'll be, but we'll try to do some artifact exploration. At the very least, we might try to go find the Javelin in Daymar. So we can do some Javelin exploration. Unfortunately, I don't think they've returned all of those artifacts back to the loot pool, but they are investigating it. So, and then I probably won't be back on Monday because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'll be back on probably on Tuesday. Let me double check because I actually had a list of this. I'll be back Tuesday and then Thursday for the office hours, and then maybe Wednesday as well, and then Friday. Yeah, Wednesday I'm streaming as well, and then Friday I'll be doing another stream, and then next Saturday I'll be streaming as well. That sort of thing. Let's try to join me. All right. Well, with that being said, y'all, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for hanging out with us. I will see you all tomorrow, maybe. I'll keep you updated. Make sure you check out my Twitter or you check the Discord, and I'll let you know. And yeah, thank you for hanging out. Love your faces. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. There you go. Let's find someone to raid.